This is Terror House Radio with Matt Forney and Bryden Proctor.
Yeah, welcome to a Terror House Radio episode number 36. I'm Matt Forney, your charming and loquacious host, and the founder and editor-in-chief of Terror House Press. Joining me is my co-host and producer, the very paranoid Bryden Proctor. How you doing, Bryden?
I didn't know I was paranoid until now. I mean, shit, now I'm kind of anxious.
Dude, you were talking about, just before we got here, you were talking about, well, I won't mention it, but you were paranoid.
It's not paranoid. No, it's just social anxiety. I just have a social anxiety about, talking to fucking, 20-something-year-old fucking people because I think they're going to beat me up. I'm scared of teenagers, too. Oh, my God, you go to the store and they're just all, they're collected. I don't know what they're up to, dude. They're up to something.
They're just there being young, having fun.
They're up to something. I swear to God. Because I know, you know what? You know how I know that? Because when I was 20 and when I was a teenager, I was up to something. I was up to no good. So I assume that they're also doing it and they're live streaming it on their TikTok.
And you're not paranoid?
I'm not paranoid.
Anyway,
I'm rational.
Whatever you say. Anyway, and our guest for this program is Mike Cannon, who is, I'll let you introduce yourself, Mike.
All right. Hey, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Mike Cannon. I live in Korea, South Korea currently, but I'm from the U.S. Long time socialist, leftist, currently a member of DSA. I think the impetus for my invite was that I don't want to call it a debate, but we can have a discussion. We disagree on a lot of things, but we'll have a cordial discussion and debate and kind of just shoot the shit. But I'm a activist, somewhat involved with the Korean left, but I come out of U.S. labor movement stuff, community organizing, that kind of thing. So I'm from Tennessee originally.
I like how you had to specify you're I'm in South Korea, as if there was any question about that. I'm in Korea, South Korea currently, as if we were wow, hey, you know what? We're about to be the most famous podcast because we've got a guy in North Korea on our podcast.
Well, prior to COVID, there were some foreigners in North Korea. It was possible to study in North Korea.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that one guy, Otto Weinbier. Yeah, things worked out for him.
Well, Otto Weinbier, that's a different case, but there's a guy, what's his name? Australian guy, Alex.
Australian
something.
Weinbier?
Well, no, he was studying in North Korea. He was studying North Korean literature at Kim Il-sung University as a foreign exchange student or something. But he was writing for NK News and some other kind of Western outlets, and he got deported. He didn't get killed though. So, but anyway,
who's that one nerd with the big mohawk and stuff? The big LARPy fella who loves North Korea.
Oh, Jason Urere, or I can never pronounce his name.
He's the best guy, dude. I love that guy.
Maoist Rebel News. Yeah.
He's the best, dude. I love him so much.
He's interesting. I'll say that.
Didn't he do work for North Korea for a while?
No. There is another guy named Alejandro Caldebuenos who is a Spanish guy who is kind of he runs the Korean Friendship Association, which is this sort of bizarre international network of pro-North Korean people. And he has some sort of official designation from the North Korean government. And he's been documented doing some really wacky shit, but I think you're maybe conflating the two of them. But
yeah, maybe
they're both really eccentric, wild characters.
Don't call him eccentric. Eccentric is what Elon Musk is eccentric. Those guys are just retarded.
I'm trying to be charitable, but yes, no, they're really naive and often.
You gotta, dude. If you're gonna to earn eccentric, you gotta it's kind of a title you have to pay for with you've got to be a billionaire, millionaire, or something. You can't be because otherwise we'd be calling homeless people eccentric all the fucking time. I'd be isn't it funny he masturbates with his own piss? How eccentric?
Well,
no.
Yeah, I guess eccentric does sort of denote a positive thing, you're an eccentric genius or whatever. These guys are definitely not geniuses, so yeah, they are. Just stupid. Yeah, it's weird. There's sort of a genre of Twitter leftists that really stand for DPRK, and some of them, they adopt, they have certain, sexual orientations or gender identities, and it's if you're aware of how things work in North Korea, this is a very traditional society. Like they are not woke, so to speak. So there's just a lot of naivete. I mean, I think people project their own shit onto North Korea. You want it to be a socialist paradise, and if you start with that frame, you're gonna, find what you're looking for, I guess, if you're not objective about it. But anyway,
I just like the idea. I like the idea of, like, I'm sure this has happened. Somebody's argued on Twitter. They're like, actually starving to death is really traditional. Somebody on the right or the left has done that. It'd be like, yeah, actually dying of the plague and starving to death is pretty trad, bro.
Well, all right. Well, we can get into North Korea in depth first. But so, Bryden, I've known you for a long time. But Matt, we've talked on Twitter and stuff, but I've never actually, like, directly, on audio or video or otherwise actually discussed with you. So I don't know if you could. I know your listeners probably know who you are, but can you, like, kind of introduce yourself for me?
You'd be surprised.
I run Terror House Press. I said a lot of nasty things on the internet. I like yanking people's chains, and I'm running a poetry collection. I think that covers it. Okay,
so you're in Albania, right?
No, I'm in Serbia. Just a funny story. I got into a new apartment today. I switched Airbnbs, and, like, right before we started the podcast, I went out to get some dinner and ran smack dab in the middle of an anti-NATO protest.
Well, I'm down with anti-NATO, so that's cool.
Yeah, they were pretty tame. I mean, they had cops everywhere, but it was like, the dudes holding the Kosovo signs, cursing out Bill Clinton. They had the Orthodox icons, and then they just kind of walked. It was mostly like old ladies and, like, a couple of young guys. It's not
were these like
or anything?
Was this like more? I mean, who organized it? Was it more like right-wing nationalists, or was it a left?
It was definitely right-wingers. Like I said, they had, like, the Orthodox icons.
Okay.
They were carrying the flag. But like I said, it wasn't like ultras or anything. It was just it was mainly old ladies.
Yeah, boomer Serbian nationalists. All right. Well, why Serbia? Why'd you move to Serbia?
I was going to go to Belarus about last month because I wanted to tick it off of my list, and because they were relatively open with the I wanted to tick it off my list. I love that old Soviet stuff. I like going around to those commie block flats. I like the women. I like the food. I unironically like Russian food. But right before I couldn't get a PCR test scheduled, which was a requirement to enter without being quarantined. And by the time I could sort that out, the election happened, and the entire place is in chaos right now. So yeah, if you're a foreigner, don't go to Belarus. It's not a good idea. I have a friend who was tried to enter Belarus last month, and he was deported under Article 30 because they went through his phone and discovered he'd been cracking wise about Lukashenko. So, Belarus, that'll have to wait.
Yeah, I've heard one of my friends here in Korea is from Belarus. I've heard Minsk is a great city, but now is not the time, I guess. All right, so what should we talk about today? I'm curious, what are you guys thinking about the election?
Hey guys, welcome to the Mike Cannon podcast, where he's just taken over. He's in charge now.
Well, I mean, do you have a a plan for our discussion?
No, not at all. There's no fucking plan, man.
No.
I made a list of things that I thought it would be interesting for us to talk about.
Oh no, we should talk about those things. We don't have to
follow that.
No, we should follow that, because that sounds better than what Matt and I do all the time.
No, we can do this Joe Rogan style and just sort of chat. You
have a plan, like, which is good because we usually have no plan whatsoever.
Yeah,
like, I classify every one of these podcasts as comedy because most of the time it's just us talking about random stuff.
It's me making jokes, and occasionally Matt tries to make one, and I make a song about him trying to make a joke.
Fuck you! I'm very funny.
Matt made a joke. It's not good. He's not funny. But which election? All right, okay. Like, I mean, I don't want to be like Eurocentric. I'm not trying to just think that the Western world is the only people with elections. Which election? Mike Cannon.
All right, so this was what I was thinking. Is like, let's talk about the U.S. election, and we can riff on the Supreme Court shit or whatever. Brian suggested this to me earlier. Then we can go into discussing. I mean, we can do it if you want to. Then I was thinking. I think you guys sort of come out of the alt-right doesn't really exist anymore, but I think at some point you guys identified with that. I come out of the left, and we can, sort of critique the right and the left and all that shit, because I have plenty of critiques of the left as well. And then if people are interested, I don't know, maybe your listeners are interested, I can we can riff on Korean
They have
politics.
already tuned out. They have already turned off this podcast.
And I think it would be interesting to contrast the coronavirus response in Korea with the U.S. And
all right, well, let's take it one step at a time here because I'm fucking high, and you're just gonna confuse the shit out of me.
All right, well, let's start with the election. So we'll go. How about Bryden, Matt, and me? So Bryden, what are your thoughts on the U.S. presidential election in November, to be precise?
Well, I want to see this debate in a few days, but let's see if that happens or not. But yeah, Trump's gonna fucking win. But you're gonna end up with the whole mail-in ballot bullshit, and we're gonna have a worse than 2000 thing going again. I mean, it's gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. Trump's gonna win. I'm not worried about that. And as far as Ruth Bader Ginsburg goes, it's a shame. Anyway, we're gonna fill that seat with that Catholic bitch.
Wait, that's official now?
Yeah, that's it looks like that's the pick. He's supposed to announce it in like a couple hours or whatever. But
yeah, it got leaked or something, right?
Yeah, well, it's just been that's been the assumed one because it was either that or that Hispanic broad. But everybody's saying it's that Amy, Coney Island Barrett bitch.
Well, that'll be an advantage. Like I said, we'll have our first AJ SCOTUS self.
What does that
Let's
mean?
Be respectful. Don't call
it. Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. I'd love to fuck.
Oh, I don't know. Is she cute? Hold on, let me look her up.
She's pretty good looking for a girl in her 40s.
Amy Coney Barrett. Is she only in her 40s? Damn, dude, that's young as shit. You're gonna be a Supreme Court judge.
All right, so Bryden, I guess I'm interviewing you now. Bryden, so do you think Trump is going to win? I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's gonna win. You're gonna get the issue. Look at Biden. I mean, everywhere I go, I see nothing but Trump signs and stuff like that in a way that I didn't see in 2016. Granted, I was in LA at the time, but I did ask a lot of people. You're going to get, I mean, they're trying to set this up to where you're going to get, Trump is going to win on election night, but the mail-in ballots. I'm pretty sure that by the end of the day, the way the Democrats are pivoting against mail-in and stuff like that, at the end of the day, everybody who's mailing in their ballot, not only will their ballot be set on fire, they will be set on fire. All right.
Who is setting the ballots on fire?
I don't know. Probably some fascist, communist, fucking, I don't know, whatever people are mad about, black people or something. Somebody's going to do it. Whatever's going to cause more riots. Something bad will happen with that. So it'll be a nightmare. We won't really know until like December or something like that. But, which is not good. Like, it's not good, but it'll end up being a thing. And then, more riots and shit. And then I think around March, everything will calm the fuck down and we can stop wearing masks and like some people allowed to fucking blow each other at the gas station again or whatever.
You live in a strange neighborhood, I guess. I'll hold my thoughts until it's my turn. But if that's your initial riff,
yeah, it'll be fine.
What do you think, Matt? What's your
Trump's
take on
gonna win. It'll probably be not that wide. I mean, because he accomplished the holy grail of giving people free money and lower taxes, which is what every politician wants to do. And because Biden is going to shit himself on stage, it's going to be so fucking epic. The Supreme Court thing, what's-her-face, Barrett's going to get confirmed. And like I said, we'll follow. Somebody listening to this, please, write an erotic fan fiction story about Amy Coney Barrett and send it to Terror House. We will publish that shit.
Dude, hold on. So I'm checking her out, right? I mean, she looks like, kind of like a hot fucking middle school teacher or whatever. I could see all the boys being like, yeah, I want to fuck her or whatever. She has the most beautiful eyes. She has these piercing, wonderful blue eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, she's I don't know. I mean, she could,
all right, well, you can jerk off to Google images later, but let's stay on topic.
This is the topic. It's how much I'm okay with, I want to come on face
Matt,
a little.
Why do you think Trump is going to win? What are the factors driving a Trump victory?
Riots.
Riots, free money, lower taxes, pretty speedy economic recovery, and the fact that Biden is going to shit his pants at the debate. And as for that, there's going to be riots. People are going to be gay, and I won't have to deal with it because I got the good news yesterday that I don't have to go back to the U.S. until January at the absolute latest. So, have fun with that, guys. I'm probably not even going to vote.
So wait, do you do and you don't have to answer this. I don't want to get doxxed or something. I'm just curious as someone also living abroad, In Korea, if you have to stay here longer, like not on a tourist visa, you have to have an employer, which is my visa. But so do you just do visa runs? Like you hop around these countries and then just periodically do visa runs and then come back? Or
Oh, you can't do visa runs in Serbia and many of these countries. Most of Europe, they've got like the out period where 90 days in, 98 days out. The only countries that don't have that are Russia, Belarus, Albania, and Georgia. And well, I'm moving on anyway, just because my whole plan before the lockdown started was I was moving to Argentina, and it took a while. I was in Georgia a year ago, and it was like, I'm not leaving Georgia until I get Terror House Press set up, and I got that set up. So I had to go to Armenia for a couple of months for business, and then I was like, I might not be in Europe for a while. I should go and visit some countries that I've wanted to visit. So beginning of March, I fly to Athens. I spent a week in Greece. That was pretty awesome. Then I take a bus to Tirana, and then everything shuts the fuck down. And I was there for 4 months. And things are sort of reopening here, so I might as well do the trip. I was in North Macedonia for a weekend. I'm in Serbia right now. I'm going to try and see if I can go to Bosnia next. I'm ticking off most of the list. Well, I missed Montenegro, but Montenegro's coming.
I highly recommend Uzbekistan. I spent a
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Dude, Uzbekistan's great. I'm shocked it's not one of the top travel destinations. It's really cool. It has all of this great historic architecture.
No.
It's a beautiful city.
Uzbekistan, the name sounds scary. Like, why do you think that why do you think that 9/11 happened? Sounds like probably something had. Sounds like something to that.
It means land. It just means land of the Uzbeks.
Yeah, it means land if I'm fucking tired of your shit is what it is. And then, no, I don't like it.
Brian, Uzbekistan was the punchline Borat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
That's
that
probably
was
why I don't like
Kazakhstan.
it.
Kazakhstan.
See, there you go.
Yeah. That was the main punchline, but like Borat was always, shit talking Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
Listen, look, all I'm saying, if you got a stand at the end of the goddamn name, even Africa, there's like not any stands going on over there. That's a fucking terrorist country, dude. You don't deal with any of that shit.
Those stands, have you ever heard of a Bantu stand?
No.
Well, technically they don't exist anymore, but
there you go. Why haven't I? No, unless there's a D at the end of the name, because that's European bullshit. Like you don't put a stand at the end of the name. You don't do that shit. You don't go, I'm going to Uzbekistan. Why don't you fucking traitors just come home to your goddamn American homeland and stop acting like you're too cool for school?
Okay, Cincinnati.
Right. If Bryden's comedy routine is over, I like Cincinnati, by the way. I lived there for a while. But if Bryden's comedy routine is over, Bryden invited me on. Is there anything you guys wanted to ask me before I rant about my thoughts on the election?
Yeah, real quick, because I sent this.
Yeah.
I sent this over here. Here, let me send it again, dude. I think the choice is obvious because there were people that were like, Amy Coney Barrett, I have problems with her or whatever, and then you look at like Barbara Lagoya or whatever. I think the choice is obvious because like she's not a good-looking broad. I mean, Amy Coney Barrett looks way better.
Yeah, Lagoa she kind of looks like a female version of like the villain at the end of The Sixth Day. When the guy tries to clone himself, but the Arnold Schwarzenegger blows up the machine, so he comes out all blue and icky. She kind of looks like that with a wig.
Yeah, what was that Dreamcast game, Seaman? She kind of looks like that.
Oh, I remember that game. Yeah, it had like a weird controller, like a special controller.
Yeah, you had to talk to him and shit.
That was the one that was
Dreamcast was an underrated
system.
Nimoy. Dreamcast was a very underrated system. The Shenmue series is one of my favorite games of all time, for sure. But all right, is there anything? I don't imagine you have like
I do. Okay, here
on your podcast. So throw me some questions.
Here, I got
me some tough questions.
One, why do you feel the need to control everything, statist? Can't you just like let things?
Oh, he called you a statist. Ooh,
I'm bringing that one back, dude.
I'm trying to impose some Bolshevik discipline on this discussion, I guess.
Oh my God,
Brian, statist is just a libertarian version of Chud.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's
not a stupid term. Yes.
Yeah, it's not great. But I'm gonna bring it back.
Brian, we've known each other for a long time, but like Matt, like this is the first time we've ever talked. Is there anything you want to ask me? Like throw it at me. Challenge me. Throw me some hard questions.
I really want to know about that Korean pizza you mentioned because you were talking about like
All right, we can start
sugar
with
and
that.
shit.
Yeah, so yeah, I always I'm pretty naive, I guess. Like I've known this about Korean pizza. People make memes about it in the expat Facebook groups and stuff. That Korean pizza is just really sweet and has all these odd toppings, which whatever, it fits the Korean palate. They can do whatever they want. But I just every time I eat it, it makes my stomach upset because I don't like sweet stuff.
What do you mean by odd toppings?
Well, think about like first of all, the tomato sauce has like 10 times as much sugar as like typical kind of, like New York style pizza, for example. So it's like you think you're eating pizza, but it's like you're eating cake. And it's just, yeah, I don't like it. Some people do, whatever.
I'm so, dude, you got my interest. Fuck yeah. Okay, what are these weird toppings there? You're gonna lose me with them? Like
corn is one that's pretty unusual. That. Yeah, corn and just like cream sauce and shit. What else?
Keep going, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, I want cake.
I mean, I don't eat this kind of pizza, so I don't really know.
Oh, I want this kind of pizza so bad.
Yeah, you would probably like it.
It sounds great. Well, I mean, they don't throw like fish on it, do they?
What's that?
They don't throw fish or anything on it, do they?
No, I found that surprising because I love anchovies on pizza, but you can't get it here. Even though like seafood is a big thing, you would think Koreans would love anchovies on pizza, but never been able to find it.
So I was just thinking like a pizza with like Béarnaise sauce and like a geoduck sliced up, and it's all just covered in sugar.
Yeah, I mean, you've been to Korea, right, Matt? I mean,
No, I haven't. Your description kind of reminds me of the Philippines because the Philippines they only know how to use salt and sugar. So basically, everything's either super sweet or super salty.
I'm down with salty, but can't do sweet.
No. They're salty as in like dump the entire fucking box into the food. So
yeah, you can overdo it.
Why am I fucking with white people at all? I need to go to one of these Asian countries. They're like, all we have is salt and sugar. That sounds awesome, dude. You get a fucking microwave Twinkie with some salt on it.
What's weird though is that like traditional Korean cuisine, which I absolutely love, it was a big motivator moving here, it's not sugary at all. But for some reason, when they interpret Western foods to fit their own kind of culinary palate or whatever, they just add shit tons of sugar for some reason. It's really weird. Because like in Japan, for example, like the Japanese, like they want to try to perfectly replicate the foreign cuisine that they're trying to do. So they'll like send people to Italy to like study how to make a real pizza. They don't try to like make it a Japanese pizza, right? But in Korea, they kind of experiment, which is cool in a way. Koreans like it, so I guess it works.
So it's kind of like
not for me.
The Koreans try to make pizza is just kind of like ska music. They were like, yeah, this is reggae, fuck it. They just made like sweet pizza.
Well, I mean, this gets back to the whole thing around like cultural appropriation, right? Like I made a joke the other day on Facebook. It was like, because there's been this spate. There's been like 3 in a row of these like professors or PhD candidates, graduate students, like faking being black. Yeah. And it raises a lot of interesting questions. It's like, so I made a post. I was just like, yeah, I'm currently waiting for Robin DiAngelo and Rachel Dolezal to analyze my 23andMe results to see if it's okay for me to play Prince songs on guitar, right? It's like you're not like the nature of culture is like it's mixing and collaboration and like interplay, right? Like rock and roll was created by African Americans, but then it went to Europe and they did their own vibe on it, and then it went back to the U.S. and then that influenced people like Marvin Gaye. Like so this idea of just we're just going to arbitrarily freeze culture in like a certain time period and be like no one is allowed to interact with each other anymore. It just reflects like just this extreme ignorance of people of history and just the basic way that culture works. It's very frustrating. You see that with food too. Like, there's been this shit where it's like, some white woman will open up a taco shop and it's like, you can't make tacos because we analyzed your 23andMe results and you're 50% Northern Europe and 40% Greek and 10% Ashkenazi Jewish or something. You're not allowed to make tacos. Like only the person who has the appropriate like DNA results. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but that's like almost the implied thing there, right? It's like we're gonna have to like blood test people to see what kind of music they're allowed to play. Like hip hop's really big in South Korea, right? Like, are South Koreans, as people who aren't black, are they allowed to do hip hop? Like, yeah, it just raises all these absurd questions. questions.
Let me ask you this, because it's like, you're coming from the other side there. Like everything you explained to me sounded like, like a Hollywood Nazi type of like, naturally blah, 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 like purity and culture and all of that shit. And, Matt and I obviously know from people on Twitter, there's a bunch of bozos like that, but like they're losers with no jobs, they're stupid and they don't know anything. Is that really
Are you
what,
talking
like,
about right-wingers or left-wing people who say this? Or
well, I'm talking like there's a couple bozos of the right-wingers that are like that. But is that how left-wing people like would look at people like me and Matt? Like think that we would be against like, like white people should not make tacos because, it is not a white people food or whatever.
No, I don't think so.
For the record, I encourage everyone to make tacos.
I like tacos.
Yeah, tacos are great. I make them.
Well, I do have a question related to that, but I'll let you finish your tangent here, Mike.
I'm done. That was.
It's not a tangent. I asked him a question. Please answer the question.
Oh, wait. All right. So your question was, do people on the left think that white
Is that the
people
way
have
they
to- or
view?
that-
Is that the way they view people like me and Matt, who are like, pretty right-wing guys?
I wouldn't say that so much. I think they would say that like they would probably the kind of like sort of what we call radical liberals. They would probably say that like there's a hypocrisy in like wanting to kick out immigrants and you guys enjoy all this immigrant food in the U.S. Right? That was the product of immigrants moving to the U.S. I think that's probably what they would say, which is kind of a superficial point. I wouldn't really say that, but that's probably what those kind of people would say. Like that, well, you enjoy all these like cultural benefits of immigration, yet you have this like extreme anti-immigration political position. So like, what the fuck? Like it's inconsistent.
Well, I mean, that bit goes back to like the whole thing. It's like we have the recipes, all right? I mean, it's like it's not like, dude. I mean, just send an email. America made burritos, all right? They don't eat burritos, and dude. Tacos in Mexico suck. They don't even put cheese on them. Fuck that shit. We made them better.
Tacos in Mexico are great. I actually found like a legit Mexican restaurant here in my city. She's Korean, but she's spent a lot of time in Mexico, and it's like legit like North Mexican style tacos that are really, really good. But anyway, what was your question, Matt?
Well, you actually kind of answered. I was going to ask you, like, is there a Mexican food in Korea and how good is it? So, but you answered that. And the reason I asked this is because I've been in Europe for, my God, nearly 4 years. It's the one Mexican cuisine is the one cuisine they just don't know how to do. Like you can get, Tbilisi, Budapest, where you can get good sushi, good Italian. You mentioned Uzbekistan. Uzbek food is really good. The Mexican is always terrible. I once ate at a Mexican restaurant in Budapest, which was just called Mexican restaurant, that served me nachos with no cheese. So like that's kind of a maybe that's.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. I still think they just forgot to give you the side of the cheese, dude. There's no way somebody's like nachos.
No. I mean, this could. So the thing is, in Seoul, I mean, Seoul is one of the great kind of global cities. It's huge. Like about half of South Korea's population lives in the Seoul metro area. There's tons of foreigners there. There's many options for like legit Mexican food because you have a lot of Korean Americans who moved to Seoul and then, they spent time in California and Mexico and like they know what to do, right? And then in my city, there's just a Korean person who's just really obsessed with Mexican culture and cuisine, and she studied Mexican food in Mexico, and like it's legit. Like it's just as good as the shit I would buy back in Nashville, like in the like Latin American kind of immigrant neighborhood where I would get tacos. So yeah, you can find it in South Korea, but it's. I mean, I've had some really shitty burritos here. I went to this one place where I ordered this burrito, and it had inside of it had coleslaw and some sort of like syrup sauce. Again, this goes back to the sweetness thing, and it was just, I've eaten fermented shark before. I would rather eat that again than eat something like that.
I keep thinking about this now since you said like there's like, oh yeah, there's this Korean chick that's super into Mexican food. I'm thinking of her just like dressed like some South, like East LA cholo or whatever, man. She's like, Annyeong, Holmes.
Oh, I'm impressed. You know one Korean word. All right.
I do. Well, because of Arrested Development.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Annyeong, yeah. All right, that was your shit, what's that language app called on your phone? Like
Duolingo.
Duolingo, yeah, that was
Yeah,
your Duolingo.
yeah. I tried like Italian on that for a while, and then I was like, Mamma mia, I'm not gonna learn this fucking language.
All right, well, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to riff on the election stuff for a minute.
Go nuts,
No
man.
problem.
It's your show, man. This is called the Mike Cannon Show. This episode's called the Mike Cannon Show. Do whatever you want. I don't give a
Well,
shit.
I mean, look, so all right, let's go back to 2016. Like, so I
Please,
obviously
can we? Oh my God, can we? I was so happy back then.
yeah, before your movement,
Yeah,
totally destroyed
good
itself.
God.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, like, look, 2016 happens. I've been on the socialist left since I was in high school. I'm 32, so that's a while.
So
And,
Mike,
for-
Mike Cannon here just outed himself for not maturing into an adult at all. He was like, you know what? Backwards hats, Blink-182, communism. This is me now.
I was a Radiohead kid and still am. I was never into Blink-182. But I got a tattoo today on my back.
did.
And
It's a good
my
one.
tattoo artist took a picture. And when I saw it, I realized I have acne on my back. So maybe I'm not quite done with puberty. But so 2016.
That's what
obviously-
That's what short guys like us tell ourselves. We're like, no, any summer now, we're gonna fucking spurt up to 6'2" in our 30s.
I'm an even 6, so I'm happy with that.
Oh,
but
you're fucking short. Shut up.
but anyway, so 2016, I obviously, along with everyone else, like supported the Bernie campaign. And then obviously we lost very narrowly. I think in that case, the DNC did rig the game, but also, it was a new insurgent movement. It's hard to go up against the establishment. Well, anyway, Hillary Clinton's the candidate. Donald Trump comes up, and, Donald Trump is sort of I don't want to directly compare them, but he was an insurgent candidate who was like, this party is fucked up. They've been fucking you over. Both parties have been fucking you over. He ran on a populist platform, and he was like, these wars in the Middle East have been bullshit. That we wasted trillions of dollars. We sold all your jobs overseas, all these manufacturing jobs. I'm going to bring this stuff back. It was a populist message. But in Trump's case, it was combined with this sort of like radical cultural conservatism as well. So I was not at all surprised that Trump won in 2016. But the thing is, as we've now seen Trump govern for basically 4 years, and despite his rhetoric, which is still just inflammatory and populist as always, if you actually look at the policies and the legislation that's been passed, this is substantively not that much different than if Paul Ryan was president. Tax cuts for the absolute wealthy. He is not like an NLRB board, the National Labor Relations Board that kind of governs how workers can organize and improve their wages, is like stacked with business people, and it's a terrible situation.
Well, let me stop you there.
Hold on one second. Let me finish this thought. During the primary campaign, Trump actually, I think it was one debate, I forget which one it was. He actually like defended single payer healthcare. But we've heard nothing from Trump about Medicare for all. Like this is it reveals the conceit of so-called right-wing populism, right? They appropriate like the language of the left, but jettison like the woke bullshit that really alienates people. But then like they don't deliver on it. Like there's been nothing. Is the condition of working class people better under Trump? No, it's not. Like has his foreign policy?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I mean, yes, like, all right, yeah, there was job growth, but like, all right, like, yeah, there are more jobs available at minimum wage. Like, he hasn't increased the minimum wage.
Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Well, hold on, let me finish. Labor protections have been eroded. There's been he wants to, I mean, as fucked up and flawed as Obamacare is, he wants to strip away even that, and his foreign policy has been good in some ways. I mean, I live in Korea.
No. Back up and say he wants to get rid of fucking protection for pre-existing conditions, because that's not true.
I didn't say that.
All right.
Because he doesn't. I agree with you. But let me finish my thought. So I live in Korea, so there's been some aspects of his foreign policy that I think are really, really good. Like my partner's father, for example, was born in North Korea and hasn't.
It's your girlfriend. Don't be a faggot. It's your girlfriend.
My girlfriend. Whatever. Yeah, I guess I use the left lingo, but he hasn't been able to visit his hometown since the Korean War. So like I'm an anti-imperialist. Like fuck NATO. Like when Trump is like undermining NATO, I'm totally down with that. when he's like talking about maybe we're going to pull out of Korea and he's doing these summits with Kim Jong-un, that's really good. So I'm fair. I mean, I'm going to compliment Trump when he does shit right, but tearing up the Iran agreement,
great idea.
Other things, like he's just wildly inconsistent, and that's sort of my take. And I think, but to finish up, and then you guys can respond about this election.
Kill you.
Hey, you invited me as a guest, so
I'm angry at you now.
All right. Well, hold on a second. All right. Well, as regards this election in 2020, I think you guys are maybe right that Trump will win. So prior to COVID-19, I was almost certain that Trump would win because Biden is a really weak candidate for a variety of reasons, the most obvious which is his obvious cognitive health issues. But when COVID was getting really serious in the U.S., I was like, oh, maybe Biden could win this, because Trump's whole thing was, well, I may be really inflammatory and like you may disagree with me on everything else, but at least the economy is good, right? And most voters are not like, they don't identify as ideological one way or the other. It's sort of like, is the economy good? I'll vote for that guy. So Corona took that away from him temporarily, but I think he might win it. And I think you're right that regardless of whether he wins it legitimately or if he does try to distort the results by this whole mail-in ballot thing, it's going to be a really rocky. We're not going to know the results of this election until January or February, probably.
Well, it legally can't be past, I think, December 19th.
But in one last thing regarding the failure of the Bernie campaign this time, a lot of people are trying to say on the left are trying to say again that the DNC rigged the election. I think that was a key factor in 2016, but I think this time, obviously, Obama intervened and all this stuff. They were more afraid of Bernie than they're afraid of Trump. But I think even if you had taken all of that away and it had been a fair fight, Bernie still would have lost. And I think the hard lesson that a lot of people on the left don't want to learn is that we simply failed to win the argument. We have been distracted by these really divisive bullshit cultural issues instead of centering a class analysis, uniting people around class. For example, these southern states were a majority or a huge percentage of the primary electorate are black voters, like South Carolina and stuff. They overwhelmingly preferred Biden because we just simply failed to organize in those communities because the left, I'm in DSA, which is 60,000 people now. It's the largest socialist group since World War II in the U.S., but it is a middle-class, predominantly white organization. We do not have deep roots in working-class communities. We don't have deep roots in black communities. We don't have deep roots in the labor movement. There was a guy, I won't name him because I don't want to get him in trouble
Matt
by
Forney.
being associated with the podcast that I'm on, but he's a good Marxist scholar, and he said, we have this unique thing in the U.S. right now for the first time in history. We have a socialist left that is completely disconnected and unmoored from the working class. So that's my critique of the left. We totally fucked that up. And I think it's a lazy, easy thing to tell yourself that, oh, well, we didn't do anything wrong. It's just, the DNC rigged it, right? And last thing I'll end on, I promise I'll stop my rant here. Someone else pointed out a really good thing recently that amongst the left, amongst the millennial leftists who kind of went to college and got really educated and got master's degrees and gender study, power analysis or whatever, they were set up to think that they would get these superstructural kind of ideological jobs like academia and stuff, and they didn't get them. So now they're angry about it. But someone pointed out that there's an irony that what a lot of millennial leftists fear most is actually becoming working class, and actually working in a factory and just living a working class life, which historically the socialists, maybe they would go to university, but then they would be like, all right, we want to organize the working class. You guys are taking jobs in the steel industry and we're going to enter that union and take it over. You guys are going to go into the logistics industry. They used to call it industrialization. In Korea, a lot of students did it under the military dictatorship. They got radicalized in college, and then they took jobs in these working class industries, and they took over the unions, and it led to the downfall of the military dictatorship and democratization. That sort of commitment and fight and willingness to embed yourself within the working class is just totally absent in the U.S. left. We're just fighting these bullshit culture wars on Twitter, and as a socialist, like that's just not. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? So it's weird. I'm a socialist, but I feel really alienated from what is called the left now. So I don't know. Anyway, that's my rant. I'll stop now.
You're killing me here because like the number of Trump has been great for the working class, all right. And you said that it was tax cuts for the rich. It was tax cuts for everybody. Even the New York Times did a fucking article called "Yes, you did get a tax cut." Everybody did. Everybody got a fucking tax cut, and then they complained later about their tax return was smaller because people in this country don't understand how fucking taxes work. The U.S. government takes your money, gives you no dividends, no interest for a whole year, and then gives it back to you, and you go, yay, neat. No, fuck the U.S. government, all right? Fuck the U.S. government. And, dude, you know why Trump's message resonates? Because it's not filled with bullshit. He just put out something called the Platinum Plan, all right? Which is just like basically let's give black people $1 billion and all this shit. And he's not going to do that. But guess what? Neither did the Democrats, all right? Trump is just flipping the script on this whole weird thing. Trump is not economically a guy that I agree with. He's all bailout, spin, spin, spin. I don't like it. I'm a fucking Ron Paul guy. God bless his soul. Glad he, had a stroke on his stream. That way people could get to him right away.
Brian's got a copy of the Road to Serfdom with the pages stuck together.
But no, it's a great book. Hayek is awesome. It's a long book.
No, he's not.
Fuck you. Okay, statist. But like, look. Let me.
I am a statist. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah, I know you should be though. Pedophile. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't ashamed either. All right, so it just you're all monsters. But that's what Donald Trump has done. It's probably a lot of Kushner influence, but he has just flipped the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I'm just doing the Democrat thing, except we're not the guys that are rioting. We're not the guys that are doing this. Weird race bullshit. Normal people don't. I mean, even me as a racist, I am not that racist. The left is extreme, like whatever the.
What does that mean, though?
Are.
You just called yourself a racist. Like, I know you try to be edgy or whatever, but like, do you actually mean that? Like, what does that mean to be a racist?
I don't want to live near people that aren't.
This
white.
is one of those words that gets used in all kinds of different ways. Like,
right? No, and I understand.
What does that mean?
I don't want to live near people that aren't white. Like I mean,
you live in the Midwest. I've lived in the Midwest. Like,
yeah, it's not great.
People in the Midwest are crazy.
Yeah, it's not great. I hate poor white people too. I think they're crazy and stupid. I mean, ultimately, probably I just don't like the impoverished because they're nuts. They're all schizophrenic meth addicts and shit. I don't like those.
Well, isn't that an argument against capitalism? Like, why are these?
No, it's not. It's an argument for maybe just putting those people into the sea, because it's like, if you can't contribute to society, then what are you doing in our society?
Well, those people have jobs and shit.
No, they don't.
Be what you consider a professional job. No, I've lived in the Midwest where I'm not going to get into doxy territory, but we've lived in the same region of the country before. I'm from Tennessee. I was born in Appalachia. Like, I'm familiar with working class people struggling. It's not like
they're not working class. They don't have jobs, bro. Like, these people are just fucking like meth trash.
Well,
on the
where
streets.
the fuck did the jobs? There used to be lots of great jobs in the Midwest.
Manufacturing jobs, great. So
you could drop out of high school and get a union gig, and you could work, and your wife could not work, and you can get a house and like one or maybe two cars. You could put kids through college. Like, if you take that away, and then you're just like, oh well, why haven't you just magically conjured up like a structure that you can climb up to be successful? Like, it's just and it's not a moral question, right? Like, this is the problem with libertarians. They treat everything as if it's a question of the individual and like a moralistic thing, right? Like, people yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I've been talking too much, and Brian has too. Matt, do you want to get in? What's your take?
No. We're not done here. We're not fucking done here, buddy. Yeah, you can make it a whole moralistic thing all you fucking want. And like, that's, I hate libertarians. I think they're dumb. They're a bunch of pedophiles.
I'm not making it a moralistic thing. You are. That's what I'm saying.
No, I think you should work, for a living.
No, your solution to poverty is like yelling at people and saying like, get your shit together.
Oh no, my solution's far more helicopter.
But that's like saying your car breaks down and you don't have, and they're like, if your car breaks down and you're not a mechanic and you have no tools, it's like saying to someone like, why can't you fix your own fucking car?
You have to. I was agreeing with you, for so long until you decided to be a butthole about everything.
All right, I'm sorry, sweetie.
Are you like cool with like isolationism? Like, I think that like globalization is a horrible thing.
Isolationism is not a thing. You mean isolationism?
Yeah. I don't know. I smoke pot and drink beers all day. What the fuck do you want from me? Like, I'm not a smart guy, all right? But you know,
that much has been clear for a long time. But I'm just teasing.
well, at
you.
least I'm not a fucking
all right, finish your
faggot.
point.
So, like, you know, well, most days. But look, like, you know.
That's why that Hayek book has sticky pages.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I'm like German dudes. But it, like, and then at the same time, I'm like, oh, I love that mustache. But still, look, that's not. Look, would you be cool with all countries, or really just the U.S. is the only country I care about, saying, fuck all this nonsense? Like, I don't want people coming in on these fucking visas and taking jobs and shit like that. I think if like a country just can take care of itself, then it needs to take care of itself. This whole idea that we need to outsource all of this crap. Oh, we need to get steel from this and, you know, whatever. We got plenty of stuff. Maybe it's more expensive. Sure. But wages will go up and people will, in general, or that's the theory at least, will, you know, in general be doing better if we just stick to our fucking self. Stick to our own, really. Americans. White, black, red, fucking whatever you want, yellow. We shouldn't call people yellow or red anymore. I think that sounds racist. But, you know, you get my deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean,
okay.
Would you agree with that?
No, I understand what you're saying. All right, so I think one mistake you're making is that, look, the reality is, like, this is the problem with, like, so-called, you know, what Steve Bannon would call economic nationalism, right? Like, capitalism is global. Capital is different from the state. Especially in the 21st century. So the idea that you can just shut yourself off from like global supply chains is it's just not possible. It's not feasible. Unless you want to be like North Korea. I mean, North Korea tries to do that, but even they like have, they're dependent on China, even though they have this ideology of Juche self-sufficiency or whatever. So like the thing is, I agree with you. Like this is a thing on the left too. So like, there's a debate sometimes on the left about the immigration question. So, all right, like, does U.S. foreign policy destabilize Central America, and that results in lots of refugees? Does U.S. and EU foreign policy destabilize, like overthrowing Gaddafi, for example? Does that trigger refugee crises and leads people to flee to Europe? Yes, that's true. Also, these two things, people have trouble thinking these two things can be true simultaneously. Also, capitalists do try to bring in cheap, undocumented labor, people who are scared and afraid and desperate, and they are willing to work for lower wages. And that does drive down wages in certain sectors of the economy. Mm-hmm. But capitalists have a very sophisticated, united class interest. They plan, they have organizations like the World Trade Organizations, like NATO, et cetera, the G8 or G7, I guess.
They even have their own.
Let me finish my point.
Sorry, they even have their own unions. They're called chambers of commerce.
Exactly. Yes. So, but the thing about the left is, it's like
I'm just gonna say, stop being mean to the Jews, Mike.
Wait,
right?
Bryden, let me finish. Let me finish. So the capitalists are very internationalist in their ethos. Like they don't think about borders or whatever. And the left, like we often frame it in sort of often corny moralistic terms, like we have to take pity on the refugees, which I agree with that. I mean, you know, anyone with a heart is going to feel terrible for someone who like has to flee gang violence from Guatemala, right? But there's a great book that I recommend you guys read. It's called The Right to Stay Home. And it's sort of a left-wing argument for like the U.S. trying to basically do like sort of a Marshall Plan and stop destabilizing Central America so that like you solve the problem for everyone, like there aren't refugees coming. Because I mean, if I used to work with, you know, undocumented immigrant people back in the U.S. Like they didn't want to leave, right? It's a really terrifying thing to have to leave where you grew up and you're going to a strange land where people don't like you and don't want you there. Like in a just socialist world where people collectively
so oppressed in California.
No, I'm talking about people in, you know, Myanmar and places like that. Like if we lived in a just socialist world where we had like there's no more imperialism and we have a democratically run economy or whatever, there would be almost zero international migration. Like if you want to solve the immigration problem, even from the right, you have to solve the problems in the countries that are generating the immigration.
Okay, so we all agree the CIA sucks.
Yeah, maybe we do.
Shit,
We've got a red-brown alliance here, I guess. But anyway, Matt, you were trying to get in there. I cut you off. I'm sorry. What would you
I was just making jokes. I mean, you guys are thinking about this way too deeply from my perspective. I'm just a pure pragmatist. Like,
I am too. That's why I'm a Marxist.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm at that point of utter nihilism where, like, yeah, I make jokes and yeah, I have my vision of like an ideal world or whatever. But like my number one focus is what's good for me, which is free money from the government and lower taxes, and also forcibly expropriating Bryden's assets just to be a dick.
Well, I mean, this gets to a question that is a thing that's often lobbed at socialists, that we're just like these Jesuit altruists who just want to like help the poor or whatever. Like, no, I'm a Marxist because I'm very selfish, actually. Like, think about it. So like if you as a, like, think about it this way. All right, let's say you're a working class person. You're just selfish. You don't give a shit about anybody else.
Yeah.
And you want higher wages, better benefits, a better pension, and just better conditions for you and your family, right? All right, how do you achieve that? You're not going to achieve it by yourself. You have to organize with your coworkers and take collective action, because the only way that you're going to improve those things is if you organize with your coworkers and demand that the wealth that you generate, because all of these companies, profit and value comes from labor. It's appropriated by capital, or capitalists rather. Like, the only way you're going to achieve what you want as a selfish person is by acting in solidarity collectively with other people. It's not about moralism. It's not about, like, when we say solidarity, like, we do have, it can be motivating and inspiring to use these terms like solidarity and, building an ethos or whatever. But even from just the kind of, even from this sort of like narrow liberal sort of atomized individual thing, like, if you want to be more successful, if you're a worker in a factory and you just go to your boss's office and you're just like, hey boss, I'm going to appeal to your moral sensibility and moral goodness. I don't think I'm being paid enough. Could you pay me more and give me a pension and health benefits? They're going to just be like, you're a good worker, but like, fuck you, right? But if your entire workforce like organizes and goes on strike, like, you're going to force them to give you what you want. That's the way I look at it. Like, because I think a lot of you guys on the right have a fundamental misunderstanding of like the motivations of socialists. It's not a. Well, we do have a lot of LARPing.
We'd love to talk to you guys,
people,
but you're too busy, smashing windows. I mean, we'd love to talk.
I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to you right now.
No,
hey, you know me. I've been.
You've been attacked by the same people.
I'm not. Antifa does not like me. They're going to like me even less after they hear this podcast. But fuck these people. I'll say it right now. Fuck Antifa.
Yeah. Let me hit you with this though.
I mean, not Antifa. You like, not fuck anti-fascism. I'm an anti-fascist, but you know what I mean. Antifa is
fascism is a fucking.
Antifa refers to a very discrete, specific.
Blah 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 blah. It's a bunch of gay bullshit. We know who those guys are. They're a bunch of nerds. Like, when you say Proud Boys, I'm like, we probably agree on a couple things, but those guys are fucking.
Yeah, they're
idiots.
Just MAGA Antifa. They're just stupid and LARPing.
They're pieces of shit. They're fucking.
They're just
morons.
playing D&D in the street. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's not good. Those guys are fucking losers. I'm anti-violence. There you go. I'm anti-vi. I'm anti-va. Anti-va. Something like that. But here's my issue with unions. And tell me if you'd be cool with getting rid of this whole thing. Like, I understand the need to make sure that it's like, boss, I lost a finger. He's like, well, you got 9 more. Like, I get that, that's a fucking issue. But when you are forced to join a union, when you get a job at like Target or whatever, and then they take some of your wages, you get a little higher wages, but you get more wages, and then they decide like, oh, we're going to donate to this local Democrat judge or whatever. That seems shitty that they're acting in your interest in ways that are outside of the workplace.
Well, if that were true, I would agree with you. But the way unions work, your union dues go to service like the people who they service the union, the people who are negotiating your contracts, and like the people you call when you get unions have a separate political action fund that's actually separate from your dues that you voluntarily donate to.
Every single
your
one?
union. Yes, your
really?
It's a law. Yeah,
cool.
Your union dues. your union dues cannot be donated to a political candidate. You have to voluntarily. I think most people do it just automatically. I think maybe it's an opt-out thing or something. I don't know. But
Right.
yeah, there is a legal separation between union dues that are used to maintain the union and then dues that are used to like do the union's political action fund. They can't, like if you're a Teamster at UPS and you're a Republican, you can opt out of your contributions going towards that.
Holy
But the
shit.
thing with the thing though is like,
Matt,
so you complain about
what? Matt, I learned something today. Matt, I learned something.
Wow.
I know.
It is possible.
Yeah, I learned something.
It is possible. All right, since we're not live, do you guys mind if I take a piss real quick?
Go
It'll just
take a
me 30
piss. You're
seconds.
fine, dude. You're good.
All right, I'll be back. You can edit out the pee
No,
break,
I'm not
but
going
I'll
to
be
do
back
that.
in 30
I'm
seconds.
not going to do that.
All right.
It goes until it goes. Oh, man.
right.
Dude,
See you in a second.
That's fucking wild. Yeah, I always maybe it is an opt-out thing. I want to do a little more research into that because I know that was kind of always one of my big gripes with unions was like they are so heavily involved with the Democrat Party and shit. I'm not just gonna take some fucking communist word for it, but I'm gonna look into that shit. Did you know anything about that?
I did not actually, but then again, I haven't been in a union for like 10 years.
I've never been in a union
And the
because I'm
public-
not gay.
Well, I was a public employee. You had to join the union.
Yeah. Okay, I say I'm not gay as in like I never worked at a place that would allow me to be in a union. So, no, I mean they kind of just got out of control as far as I think, and I do think I mean, we'll talk with Mike about this, but like, I mean, I think they do kind of like punish employers to a certain point because it is like, you know, like if it's like, hey, boss, I lost a finger. Oh, well, you got 9 left. That's bad. But like, also, it's like if they unionize and they're like, we want $15 an hour. It's like, okay, well, our margins are fucking thin. You know, how about we just not have jobs? None of us. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, people forget about the investment that people make when in starting a business. You know, everything that you make is an investment. You know, it's something like that is huge. I mean, you should treat your employees well because, like, otherwise you're going to lose them. But that comes back to the idea of what should be, which is, you know, essentially free market.
Well, actually, you know, I'll bring up something. You know, here's something you might not know, and the audience might not know. You know, the Scandinavian social democracies that, you know, everyone praises as being, you know, fair to their citizens. Bryden, did you know that like Sweden, Denmark, none of those countries have minimum wage laws?
No, but somebody told me that Scandinavia is basically fascist the other day. Yesterday, actually. No, they said it in a positive thing, though. They've got like some weird tribunal crap with Scandinavia.
Basically everyone there is unionized, so
yeah,
there's
that's
no need
fascism.
for minimum wage laws because no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
All right, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, buddy. Yeah, no, I
I'm
mean,
gonna break a rule and smoke in my apartment.
Uh-oh.
So I can't go up on the roof.
He's gonna smoke in Korea in an apartment like they are.
I'm right next to a window. I just moved my clean clothes out of the way so they don't get fumigated.
I don't think I think Korean babies smoke. Honestly, I just think all Asian babies smoke though.
Dude, cigarettes are so cheap here. It's like $3 a pack or something.
Yeah, it's insane. Also, Asian people can't get lung cancer. It's fucking weird.
They do. Yeah, I mean it's weird. So like I got a tattoo.
Way less. Well, it's way less than fucking white people. White people get lung cancer like crazy.
Well, how about this? Like, so tattooing is technically illegal here unless you're a medical doctor. Like, you have to have an MD to be a tattoo artist.
Only doctors can get tattoos. They're doctors. They're full sleeves. They look.
You can buy hard liquor. You can buy hard liquor in any convenience store 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, that's just California.
That's just standard. You know, everywhere outside the U.S.
That's also
Yeah, but
California, bud. I mean, like, California, you can go to the CVS and just buy a fucking bottle of fucking vodka and shit. Up until 2 a.m.
24 hours a day, though? Like, there's no restriction.
In Vegas, you can, yeah. In Nevada, you can. You know.
But,
yeah, it's not...
I mean, I've had to...
But can you drink it on the street?
In
Yeah,
Vegas,
you
you can.
In Korea, yeah, you can. People usually don't do it because it's sort of like considered a little indecent, I guess. I try not to do it, but yeah, you can. I mean, so
fancy that. Running around with a bottle of soju on the street is considered uncouth. I guess the Koreans have a lot more manners than anybody in Cincinnati who's running around with a bottle of Mickey's.
It's a serious problem though, because I only work in the afternoons and like into the early evenings. So like I stay up pretty late. My sleep schedule is just like that. So I often just like walk to the beach, and like 2 times now I've found people just stone cold passed out on the side of the street. So I have to like flag down a cop because I'm like, I don't know if this guy's like breathing or whatever. And cops here are like basically social workers. Like if you're drunk and passed out on the street, they pull your wallet out and look at your address. If you're really too far gone, maybe alcohol poisoning, they'll take you to the hospital. Otherwise, they'll take you home. Like you don't get arrested. Like in the U.S., I would never bring the cops into a situation like that.
They'll kill that guy.
Yeah,
They'll just execute him on the street.
No, in Korea, Korean cops are cool. I never thought I would say cops are cool, but I mean, they really are just like social workers. And what's funny is like,
well, I mean, Brian, it's like when we had Brian Ecker on the show. He lived in Korea for a while, and he basically said the same thing. Like you just find like dudes in Korea just passed out on the street.
Yeah, like that's
but people wouldn't rob them and stuff.
No, when I was in Japan, like the bars closed, or well, I guess some bars never closed, but anyway, it's the end of the night, but it's like the trains are closed down. I mean, we were walking through a public park to get a taxi, and there's just like single women by themselves with their purse out, taking a nap in the park until the trains reopen.
Oh, whoa! Don't go further with the story. You don't want to incriminate yourself.
There may be creepy guys taking pictures of them, because that is a thing in Korea. Like taking. In the U.S., we have violent sexual assault. In Korea, you just have weird guys taking pictures of skirts in subways. But
no. We have those too. We have those over here too. Don't sell America short.
We have all kinds, I guess. But yeah, it is amazing. And a friend of mine from Germany asked me the other day, because I posted some meme about like how you can like leave, if I'm at Starbucks writing or something and I leave my MacBook Pro, I can just go to the bathroom or like go outside and have a cigarette, and it's like not a problem. In the US, if you want to do that, you have to pack everything up, put it in your backpack, and take your backpack with you, right? In any major city. In Korea, you don't have to do that. And she was like, why is that?
Because they're a racially homogenous society, and there's
I knew you were going to say that, but
there is a mutual trust among people, and an idea of respect and honor.
Well, I knew you were going to say that, and I will preempt that by saying, like, Europe was racially homogenous prior to the 1970s.
Yeah, but they're pieces of shit. Have you met anybody from Europe?
But they just like violently murdered each other in 2 world wars, right?
Yeah,
and Korea
awesome.
too. Korea had its own civil war. There was banditry and all kinds of crime here. South Korea being this sort of like high trust society is a pretty recent phenomenon. And so, if it was solely due to racial homogeneity, I don't know why it is.
Oh,
I think
then I'm the only guy with an answer, so I don't know until you come up with your own answer, Mike. It sounds like I win.
This is a problem on the left and the right. You have to be willing to admit when you don't know the answer to something. But,
no. I don't know why America's not racially homogenous.
It never was. That's the
yeah. No, I mean, white people and black people get to stay in America. Everybody else got to get the fuck up out of here.
Well,
dude.
North America was there prior to European colonization.
Okay, listen, great, and then Pangea and all this fucking weird bullshit too. When are you gonna freeze time on being like, and this is stolen land? When are you gonna freeze time on that? All right, just knock it off. America, it's America.
All right, next topic, podcast listeners, is the Earth flat? Bryden.
Might be. I don't know. I've never. I don't know. I don't know enough about science.
All right. Well, I want to hear you guys self-critique your own side. So
they're a bunch of faggots.
I made some pretty vicious critiques of the left that I'll probably get shit for. Like,
Here you go. They're a bunch of unorganized fucking retards who can't get anything done. Half of them are. Like, I wish they were. Matt calls them feds all the time. I wish they were feds, but the thing is, the government wouldn't even waste money on these assholes because all they do is just want to fucking be like, China's actually good, and also like, did you know black people are bad? And like, they're completely retarded. What they did is they went from libertarian into racist, and then they just like skipped the Hans Hermann Hoppe thing entirely, and we're just like, also now we're National Socialists. Half of those guys are retards. And then you've got like the Groyper crowd. They're just 20 years old. That's the only thing that can happen with them. They're just 20. They'll grow out of it. All of these folks are just stupid as hell. They like, if you moved from libertarian into alt-right, into whatever it is, they completely forgot about the whole idea of like, hey, big government's bad. Instead, they just want an oppressive big government that's going to fucking kill people that they disagree with, which is no different to me than the goddamn fucking statist left. You know, it doesn't make much sense to me. And then you got the Groyper guys, and they're just 20 years old. You got to just fucking ignore them. They're just trolling.
All right. Well, the thing about that, Matt, first, do you want to get in here before I go?
I pretty much agree with Bryden. I mean, my specific critique. All these people are black pillars, and it's like I'm kind of getting sick of the whole pill terminology. These people are fucking bipolar. They swing from like, oh, we're doomed, and all of a sudden they follow fads, hop on them. They have no critical thinking process. You know, like they all fucking got excited about Andrew Yang a fucking year and a half ago, and now they're trying to pretend they weren't suddenly doing that.
He works for CNN.
Yeah. Basically, people who are not fucking serious, which is why they don't get anything done. And I'm a free speech guy. I think we're all free speech guys. You know, free speech is cool. It's awesome. You know, it's the only reason why something like Terror House exists. But the side benefit of deplatforming is that it's shut a lot of these people up, like, and gotten their shit out of the fucking public discourse. Okay,
well, who are you talking about specifically? I'm just curious.
Someone like fucking Richard Spencer, not actually edited that. Whatever. People like the fucking NJP. People who just contribute no
just say
value
TRS. Just say Mike Enoch and all of that fucking Eric Stryker and shit. You know,
well, I did with NJP. Whatever. It's like
National Justice Party. Yeah, their new like political party. Or
I love that, dude. I love.
They're not serious people.
Dude,
basically.
it's hilarious. It's a money laundering scheme as fuck.
Well, no,
it's
like
hilarious.
some Antifa account on Twitter was like, so I'm off Twitter because I get in too many fights, but I reactivate every 30 days and just insult people and then get off again to reset the clock because they'll permanently delete your account. But yeah, somebody was just like, some right-wing guy was like, yeah, we had 300 people. And I'm like, did you watch the video? It was in a barn in upstate New York. And like, of the 300 people, 250 of them are probably federal informants. Like, this is total large.
Also fucking weird they didn't get busted for holding an illegal gathering in a time of pandemic.
You guys
that too, yeah.
You guys are just both wrong. Like, every time you call people fads, and this is something I see on the right and the left. Like, what do you guys call them? Something coats? What do you call them?
Well, I think you're naive about the Fed thing. Like, when I was a student,
no, there are people.
I got visited by the TBI, and I was just doing like student activism, like fighting austerity stuff. Like, the Feds are stupid. Like, they will send people into movements that are springing up.
100%.
Like, they're not going to do a great job of infiltrating them, but they will send people there for sure.
100%.
Like the meme with the like Steve Buscemi with the skateboard, "Hello kids," like that is how they act in those spaces.
Right.
You can spot them immediately, but they do go there. Like, I'm sure.
But dude, it was fucking. Who was the asshole the other day? He said that they were like, yeah, we have like alternative something, whatever. Like, talking about they had undercover dudes in Portland, and like, no doubt a lot of those guys were starting shit. I mean, but they didn't really need much help. But like, they had guys.
Agent provocateurs. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I don't think COINTELPRO officially ended as a program, but it continues to go on. Like, I'm sure some of the people who are really starting the aggressive, I'm broadly in support of like the, anti-police brutality stuff, but like I'm sure the federal authorities are sending in people.
I don't know, man. I don't mean to disagree with you so hard, but I'm super in favor of innocent people being beaten up by the government. I don't know. Dude, nobody's in favor of that.
I didn't say it. Wait, what are you talking about? I didn't even say that.
No, you said you're anti-police brutality. It's like, yeah, me too. Everyone is, I think. Like, anybody who's not a cop is anti-police brutality. Like, what was it? Daniel Shaver, murdered by a police officer. White guy.
Oh, yeah. Was that video with that kid who was like in a hotel room and had a toy gun?
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, no rikes about
that.
No,
I agree with you. Like, if you look at the statistics, yes, African Americans are disproportionately targeted by the police. I think you guys downplay this, but I do think there was a racial component to it.
They
but
disproportionately run into the police.
They disproportionately target working class, poor people,
sure,
right? And
fair enough.
That's the issue. And like, this is what I wish the left would get around, because like, look, I used to organize with people of all different backgrounds in Tennessee, right? and elsewhere. And look, you know, the left is trying to sort of like, because look, the nature of identity, when we're talking about this term identity, the nature of identity is it's infinitely divisible, right? Like the three of us, we're all heterosexual white men. Well, Bryden maybe.
You got me before I got you. I was gonna like, Mike, come on.
Yeah, I was trying to preempt you. But even the three of us, like we all have our own different childhood backgrounds, class backgrounds, education levels. You know, Brian's recently learned how to read, which is really inspiring. But he's now the editor of a website. It's sort of a, you know, something, you know, it should be on Time Magazine.
Damn, dude, he got me twice. He got me twice in a row. Fuck.
But the reality is that like if you're working class, whether you're white, black, gay, straight, you know, trans, like the Bernie Sanders original message in 2016, it's like your lived experience is like 99.9% the same, right? Like it's modulated by your gender and your race and stuff in the US, like social structures that like kind of grid your life. But I mean, but like, so if you want to unite people around a program that's going to actually overthrow capitalism, we can get state power and like end the parasitic rule that's sucking all of our energy and our labor out of our bodies to enrich these fucking pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein.
You have got to stop talking. You got to stop being so anti-Semitic, bro. Like, just cool it for a second. Jeez,
well, not even Jeffrey Epstein. Jeff Bezos isn't Jewish.
Yeah, so, spiritually he is, though. I think. I think once you become the richest man in the world, you kind of are.
Like we're starting all these fucking Twitter wars around cultural bullshit that no one cares about when we could be the vast majority of the U.S. is working class, and we have shared interests that are totally contrary to the interests of the tiny elite that are ruling us and exploiting us. And it's not about charity. It's not about having just some welfare state where we give things out. It's about us controlling our own lives by running the economy, democratizing the economy, having real democracy. So that's the issue. So like, this is why race politics are bullshit. Race realism is stupid. Not for moral reasons.
No.
Although,
race realism is real, but that doesn't mean, dude, like IQ differences and stuff like that is definitely real, but that doesn't mean that anybody has to die or we need to treat people differently under the law.
The question, I mean, you know, if you're talking about IQ, I mean, there's things around like, all right, well, one, the nature of the IQ test itself. Two, to what extent does the IQ test to what extent does, because there is research that childhood trauma and stuff like that influences 100%. And lowers your IQ. And there are certain racial minorities that experience those things at much higher levels.
Yep.
So, but that doesn't mean that like African-American people are like inherently have lower IQs, right? I mean,
no. We've got a whole deal with like, you know, the talented 10th. Like, I mean, one of my only friends here in Cincinnati.
No, I mean, like, look at
the black man, you know, and he's fucking awesome. We bond over Rush Limbaugh, and he's fucking sweet, you know. But like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter whatever lowers your IQ or anything.
Wait,
like that.
I think I know that guy. There aren't many black Trump supporters in your town. I think I know the guy you're hanging out with.
Is he 53 years old?
No, he's my age.
Yeah, different guy. You've told me about this guy, and I still want to meet him because he sounds awesome. But you know, it's
he's I love him to death. He's a good friend. We worked at I won't say the company we worked together. He's a sweetheart, but he does remind me. Have you seen Boondocks? You know Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks.
Uncle Ruckus, baby, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of sad. It's like
I got vitiligo. It's the opposite of what Michael Jackson had.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, like
but why?
Self-hating black guy kind of thing going on.
No, but the thing is, like, I look at the liberals, and I'm sure Matt does as well, as like a lot, especially women, as like a bunch of self-hating whites. You know, they're like, and white besides the Jewish people who are like fellow white people, you know, doing the whole deal. Because like, I'd count Jews as white if they stopped trying to throw us under the bus all the time, and then be like, actually, I'm Jewish. It's like, no. If something pops off, you're white like us. You need to quit it. That has nothing to do with the state of Israel either. I don't like Israel, and I don't think a lot of Jews don't like Israel. You know, Israel is a weird fascist ethnocracy, and it is not a thing that is good.
Yeah.
I think we could all agree on that.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
left is like, they're doing bad stuff to Palestine, and I'm like, they're taking all of our money. So in general, from all angles, nobody likes them.
All right, I think the so-called JQ, is a separate podcast. But all right, I want to get to two things here though before we leave. I guess we're doing Joe Rogan style. I'm willing to go till 2, so that clocks.
Whatever you want to do, dude. We'll just keep going forever. It doesn't matter. Matt, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You taking a poop?
No, I'm enjoying the fact that you guys are doing the show for me. So.
No. It's not.
It's fun. It's fun.
It's fucking noon over here.
One thing I think would be good for us to talk about is, and I'll let you guys start with this.
Hold on, real quick. I like how Mike is apparently listened to only very structured podcasts ever in his entire life. And this is all things actually like. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me make a 15-minute point about something. Let's discuss, gentlemen. Your dick is a calculator. You're a fucking nerd.
I'm trying to.
I'm guessing you're more of a fan of What's Left than of Red Scare.
I like both for different reasons.
I've never listened to Red Scare. Fuck both those people.
I'm critical of both
that?
For different reasons too. I mean,
I don't like that one bitch. I don't like that one bitch. She fucked over my boy Adam Friedland. Oh, I'm not gonna have that. My boy
I don't live
Adam.
in Brooklyn, so I don't give any fucks about that drama. But
no,
I like Come Town too sometimes. But
Come Town's a terrible podcast. The only good podcast is Legion of Skanks. I'm saying now. I do 2 podcasts a week. All right, and I'm telling you right now, the only good podcast is Legion of Skanks.
Well, I will say this. I like Come Town, but I don't have the patience or time to listen to them rant for 3 hours for 2 good bits. So I just wait for people to clip the good parts and upload them to YouTube. That's the way I engage with Come Town. But anyway, I think this would be good. And I'm really curious, sincerely, about your thoughts about this. So I live in South Korea. You guys are still in the U.S. I left way before Corona. So the U.S. has responded to Corona in a very different way from South Korea. So I'm curious, maybe Bryden, Matt, then I can talk about the South Korea thing. Bryden, what do you think about the U.S. coronavirus response?
I think that it is something that exacerbates existing situations. Like if you're, not in good health, I think it can really fuck you up.
My uncle just nearly died.
Yeah. Is he doing cool?
No, he's good. So he
not to be rude, but he was a fat guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's this is. We'll get around to this when I.
Well, I just figure he's a Nashville guy. He's probably a fat dude. He's at barbecue and shit.
Well, I mean, look, he's 60 years old. He quit smoking many years ago. But if you smoke for 30 years, even if you quit for 20, the damage is done to some degree. But yeah, he was. A family member told me he's not. I was like, how's he doing? Because I was just catching up with family, and they're like, well, he's got COVID-19, having a little trouble breathing, but he's fine. And I'm just like, dude, you gotta send an ambulance over there right now.
Yeah, he needs to
so
go to the doctor.
Got one. They got one over there, and then took him to the hospital and he was on a ventilator for a while. Which I don't know if you've looked at the detailed statistics. Statistically, if you have COVID-19 and you go to the ventilator point, the survival rates get very low. But he got off the ventilator. I reached out to my friends all over the world and compiled this montage video of everyone saying "get well" in their own native language and sent it to him on YouTube and stuff. But he's doing some rehabilitation stuff. He has a long road ahead, but he's off the ventilator, thank God, because he's a great guy. He's a fucking awesome blues guitarist, really, just amazing person. So I'm really glad he pulled out of it. But anyway, finish. Fred.
No, I'm glad he's fine. Yeah,
I appreciate the concern, though, guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit before, and I assumed he might have told me, if something bad happened, but I'm good. I think that if you've got stuff, if you're a fat old guy with AIDS, you probably ain't gonna make it, But
I mean, the U.S. is 2/3 obese and 3/4 overweight, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and they've shown that overweightness and obesity are actually a huge risk factor for COVID, even if you're young, right? So,
yeah, it makes you wonder if like the Chinese just knew exactly what they were doing when they put it over here. They were like, "We are going to get him."
Well, it's almost like we have a totally unregulated capitalist society full of companies selling us shitty food, right? Which this is the thing that pisses me off about the left again.
While we're on the down.
No, I'm not going to calm
down.
Stop
blaming capitalism and Taco Bell, all right?
Well, this is the thing that pisses me off. You have this, I have great empathy for people who are overweight. It's difficult to lose weight. I'm totally against bullying people who are overweight. But
no, I'm not. I bully Matt all the time.
We should be against fat shaming, but not. There's like sort of this fat pride thing going on the left. And it's like, no, we should not normalize the fact that like we live in a society that's poisoning us, and like because working class people are the most overweight. And if you're a socialist, a leftist, like your primary concern should be the health and the thriving of working class people. And yeah, I mean, people are bullied for their weight, and that's terrible. And I'm totally
you shouldn't bully people.
You shouldn't. I mean, I've got a little beer belly, and I need to get back
I'm
in
fat
shape.
as fuck, dude.
But I'm not gonna.
Brian is a diabetic Gumby.
Yeah, I mean, I look gross, dude. I'm like a fucking. I got a beer gut like nobody's business. It's
yeah,
bad.
You're a vegetarian who eats cheese sticks.
Yeah,
although
exactly.
I do appreciate the fact that you introduced me to the gas station, opening the Doritos and like pouring nacho cheese.
Oh
in
yeah,
and shaking
dude.
the
When you
bag.
get the fucking nacho
Wait,
cheese
what?
into that. Oh man, you get.
Oh, dude, you haven't done this? Yeah.
Oh, it's
No.
amazing. Yeah, you get like a bag of Doritos,
horrible.
and then you nacho cheese into the Doritos.
awesome.
It's fucking incredible, dude. You can't do that anymore because of COVID. They shut all that shit down. You can't do it anymore.
All right, well, we'll get to the South Korea's thing. All right,
But,
any last thoughts, Bryden, on
I'll-
COVID before we go to Matt?
Yeah, I just think it is wrong that we, because like if you're at risk for something like this, it makes sense for you to be the guy that does the lockdown, and it's up to you as a person to stay the fuck inside and maybe get Instacart for your groceries, and we could do the work from home thing. I think that's great. It's bad for like commercial real estate, but that's one thing, and we'll see how it recovers. But to shut down the entire fucking country and really ultimately the entire world is wrong. It's changing the way that people live in a way that we have not seen yet. It's not good, and it really, really, really hurt the economy, and I think that's bad because anybody who says like it's about lives, not money, it's like, okay, well, your job is basically who you are as a person because otherwise you don't eat food. How's that?
Right.
It's the way it was handled was terrible, and I do not like Donald Trump for this. He one time when I said especially fuck Donald Trump was when he sent an email out, his mass weird email thing that was like patriots wear masks, and I'm like,
yeah, my mom keeps adding me to his email list as a joke. My mom's a Trump supporter. So.
That's awesome. Your mom is sweet, dude.
No, it's a good troll. I'll tip my hat. I appreciate a good troll. So
I don't like the way that they just shut down everything because it's like, business is what keeps us all alive. It is unfortunate. Like my grandmother is 85 years old. I don't want her to get COVID and die, but what's more important than my grandmother? The health of our society and our just being normal and not going around wearing masks.
You sound like a collectivist.
Kind of, yeah, of course.
You're thinking of things above and beyond yourself. I'm impressed.
I constantly think of things above and beyond myself.
Sort of a cruel way that you described it, but yeah, it does convey that you are capable of thinking of the collective.
Yeah, it's just called Hoppian libertarianism. Listen, if you're fucking up society, you got to go. It's like Among Us. That's a great game. We got to play it. It's an awesome game. You got to go. If you're fucking shit up, you got to go. So,
all right. Well, Matt, what do you think?
I mean, Brian was kind of getting at what I was, talking about. I mean, with the coronavirus, I mean, obviously, like if you're in a risk factor, you're elderly or you're obese, you got comorbidities. Yeah, you should protect yourself. There should be some common sense protections. But well, first off, there's just been so much lies and misinformation about this. I mean, just to concentrate on the U.S. First, they said that masks didn't work, and that if you bought masks, you're a bad person. Then they started with the lockdown and was like, okay, we're going to lock down to flatten the curve so that the hospitals don't go overrun. Then all of a sudden it became, 2 months later, was we need to lock down until there are no new cases. Then we need then it was locked. We need to lock down until there's a vaccine. And now they're saying, I saw this from Bloomberg the other day, we're gonna need environmental lockdowns to combat climate change. I started out being of the whole kind of stupid idiot line of like, who cares, the economy, it's like that magic line. Brian kind of set me right on this. The economy is not just, it's Wall Street chicanery and all that, nonsense. But like the economy is not just hedge fund bros in Upper East Side penthouses. The economy is us. The economy is the economy is you and me. It's our jobs. And it ties into our welfare. The economic devastation caused by these lockdowns, is going to be felt for a long time to come. We're already feeling it. When I was in Albania, and Albania had a pretty strict lockdown, there was a point where we couldn't even, in order to even leave the house, you had to get a permit from the police. And it was only valid for 1 hour, and you could only get it once a week, and you couldn't go more than 500 meters from your home. Stuff like that, the suicide rate spiked. There was a point where the local papers in Toronto were just reporting on suicides every day, which, Albania is a pretty small, tight-knit country. So that was a big deal.
Albania doesn't have Facebook Live?
Well, they got Facebook
I'm
Live.
sorry.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to McNutt, dude.
on,
R.I.P. to McNutt. I know. It's just whatever. Sorry. Go on.
But yeah. Suicide rate spiked. The divorce rate spiked. Tons of people were thrown into poverty because they don't know. And then there's just the psychological effect of being locked into your home with no end in sight.
Right.
I think I shared an article with you, Bryden, about this. Like the psychological effect of lockdowns was worse than the effect that prisoners suffer, because at least prisoners, well, the ones that aren't in there for life, they know when they're going to get out. And I can tell you, like, being confined to my apartment for 2 months, beyond the problems I had, like the fact that I didn't have running water 24 hours, or my neighbors threatened to call the police on me because I used the bathroom in the middle of the night. Not being able to go anywhere, do anything, like that fucking stressed me out. I started day drinking for the first time in years.
Okay, first of all, you should always do that. Secondly, like, dude, you remember I just took a fucking, week off. I quit talking to you and everybody because I fucking snapped, Like, this is terrible for people. It's not good. And, like, I'm not an outside guy. I think it's gross. The sun's out there and stuff. I'm more like a Marilyn Manson, like, dig, Rob Zombie, dig through the ditches and go outside at night.
His new record is fucking awesome, by the way. If you like
Marilyn Manson's new shit?
His new album is one of his best.
Yeah, dude, I listened to a little bit of that last night. It's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But
There's some shit on there that sounds like the Beatles. It's great. Anyway,
I haven't heard that.
I mean, yeah, and again with the poverty and stuff, it's like I'm still pissed off at the fact that I lost my job because of all this. It was the best job I've had in years. It was, everyone talks about UBI. This basically was a UBI because at my skill level, I'm the best damn freelance writer you'll ever find. Do you
write under pseudonyms? Do you write under pseudonyms? You don't have to tell me what they are, but.
I ghost. It's not particularly interesting stuff, but it pays.
Well,
the
I
bills.
would figure, given your profile, you'd have to ghostwrite.
Matt Forney writes gay erotica on Amazon.
Well, I always wondered that
because
I know
I
imagined. Well, I imagine. I mean, Terror House Press. You've clearly poured your heart and soul into it, and
we're a profitable company, bitch. Like
you guys post some cringy stuff, but
no, he does that. He does that. I don't post cringe,
but
no.
I didn't think that was paying your bills though, so I was curious if you.
No. Okay, two things. One, Terror House is profitable, bitch. Two,
really?
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, dude, it's fucking awesome. Secondly,
that's impressive. It's hard to be a profitable press enterprise in these days. Like, I mean that sincerely. Like that's.
Well, that's Matt.
Hard to do.
That's Matt. I just show up. But like two, and again, it's Matt. That's the guy who makes the profit. Anything that is posted that is quote unquote cringe, do not attribute that to me. I really have so little to do with this fucking company that I just imagine one day I'm gonna go, from my weird corner office. I'm gonna go, How did I get here?
Well, maybe Matt will publish the novel I'm writing. We'll see. But,
I'm going to write a novel about you, and I'm going to call it the Mike Cannon story, and then I'm going to shoot you out of a cannon. It'll be a 3-page story, and I'm going to be like, and then Mike
be a good,
was...
like, Hunter S. Thompson. Isn't that how Hunter S. Thompson, when he died, Johnny Depp shot his ashes out of a cannon?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's what they did, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
I'm fine with that. Just do it after I die. You can shoot my ashes out of it.
No. I'm gonna write story. I'm just gonna this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna publish every episode of it on Terror House. I'm gonna write gay fan fiction about you, and I'm gonna be like, and Mike Cannon unzipped Zhishik's fucking zipper and related him so hardly.
And yet again, more confirmation to Matt's theory for why the pages in Hayek's book are sticky.
I'm gonna make you bang
All right,
Ron
well,
Paul,
let's get
bitch.
back to the
You're
topic.
the bottom.
All right, so the coronavirus response. You guys both raised very good points that this lockdown has been terrible for people. In South Korea, there's I forget the term, but there's a Korean term for there's a new name for the corona generation.
Oh, I know
of
that.
kids. Because if you're if you're a young adult or an adult like me, it's still difficult, but it's easier to cope with this. But these kids who are entering, wait, let me finish, man. These kids who are entering kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and this is a key time in their life where they have to develop core social skills, and they're deprived of that because a lot of stuff is on Zoom. Yeah, it's terrible. South Korea, I think every country is having spiked suicide rates. South Korea has the highest suicide rate in the world and the lowest birth rate in the world. It's quite tragic. But I will say that in the U.S., you have all right. So in South Korea, the way the coronavirus response here has gone, there's never been a hardcore lockdown. The government has a very sophisticated system of social tracing. So, all right, let's say I went to Itaewon in Seoul, and I went to all these bars and restaurants and hung out with people. All right, and I get coronavirus. The government comes and takes my phone and extracts the GPS data and sees everywhere I went. And then they send out text alerts to everyone in my area, sometimes the country if it's a national thing. And they say, COVID case number 1615 or whatever visited these places. If you visited any of these places during this time period, you need to report in and get tested. And there's a really aggressive system of social tracing. Foreigners have been deported for not obeying it. If you have COVID and you're designated to go into quarantine, the government forces you to have an app on your phone that tracks your movements. There's been some actually funny examples. So early in the pandemic, so in South Korea, the pandemic broke out in Daegu, which is a central city. It's sort of think about the US, Chicago, right? It's in the middle. Daegu is in the middle of South Korea. There's a weird religious cult called Shonjeongji, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I remember those guys.
Well, they have a church in Wuhan, and they have this religious thing diseases can't hurt us, Jesus will heal us, and they just totally flaunted all shit, and it caused this massive outbreak in Daegu. Daegu was just totally shut down in quarantine, and so the government's really good at isolating clusters. If someone tests positive for COVID in a workplace, that workplace is closed down. Everyone there is put into preliminary quarantine and tested.
For the fucking flu?
In the US, this would be considered, oh, it's authoritarian. And
it literally is.
Statist, you're violating my rights. But it's also just we're trying to prevent people from dying, right?
From the fucking flu? Look, Italy,
it's deadlier than the flu.
It's slightly deadlier than the flu.
It's significantly deadlier than the flu.
Okay, don't die of the flu.
Let me finish my point.
Don't die of the flu. Listen, got rid of... I'm sorry that we can't get pasta sauce from fucking Italy anymore. Or, I'm sorry, gravy. All right? From the fucking pasta people
Let me finish my point,
Italy.
please.
Fine, finish your fucking point. It's not worth our lives.
Well, but the thing I just told you before, Korea never shut down. I eat out at restaurants almost every night of the week. I never have stopped doing that during the pandemic. It's just, so there's two responses. You can do Chinese style, full on authoritarian lockdown, which does have serious economic consequences, or you can do, you can have a system of sophisticated social tracing, which in the US context, because Americans have this uniquely psychotic narcissistic
Okay, I have a
libertarian
question.
psychology.
Where do they
that won't work in the U.S.
Where do they insert the microchip? Is it directly into your ass, or how does that work with their sweet social tracing that I'm sure that the fucking FBI and CIA wouldn't use at all? Wasn't social tracing seen as like negative
also, I'll give you an example,
by
like
New
that-
York when like people
can
were
I finish my point,
protesting
please?
/ rioting?
All right, so
You're talking so like positively about it. Maybe I'm missing the point, but you're thinking.
Well, okay,
this is good.
so guess how many people in South Korea, which has a population of I think 53 or 54 million people, guess how many people have died of COVID?
I don't know, 10.
About 380 or something.
Sweet, great. They don't have that many people. They also don't have that many freedoms.
Yes, but even if you compare that like proportionally to the U.S., the U.S. rate is skyrocketing. Like, yes, obviously the U.S. population is. No, they're not.
Yes, they 100%.
Are you really going to repeat that bullshit talking point?
100%.
Like,
dude, 100%. Not 100%, but about 25%. So about 25% less of everything.
This is like, all right, so Bryden, you basically live on alcohol and cheese sticks.
This is true.
So you probably, like, let's say you have diabetes, right? If you get hit by a car,
my dad had diabetes.
The cause of your death was not diabetes, it was the car. Like,
right.
This is the thing with COVID, like, because this is this like bullshit Fox News talking point, right? I don't want to sound like a MSNBC.
Oh
Rachel,
boy, here comes Rachel Maddow. Here comes
Rachel
Maddow.
I almost said Rachel Dolezal, but they're not that far apart.
Oh my God, give her a show. That would be great. We'll call it.
You have to
call
be
it
scientifically sound, right? So like they'll say, like there's been this bullshit talking point that like, yeah, some obese person who smokes and has diabetes or whatever goes in and has COVID and they die, and then they're just like, well, maybe they just died from being fat, and it's like, no, like. You can have all of these things, but if like another factor intervenes and kills you,
it exacerbates it.
You died from the car accident. You didn't die from diabetes. Like, I don't know why this is difficult for people to understand.
No. I don't understand why you. I don't understand why you like. Ultimately, like our flu season, our flu bullshit has been super low this year, and ultimately by the end of the year,
flu season hasn't really even started yet. Like, what
but it has
it's September.
Yeah, but
a little.
It's cold.
You're talking about like as if we're in January, like we're not.
But I'm talking about for the year. So from January to say that COVID wasn't here in January is silly. I don't think that it wasn't here. I think it was here in January. And Trump did a great thing about closing off shit to China, but he didn't even do that. There was still private jets coming in, and like God help us, there's spies all over the place. But oh
God, you've really OD'd on some fucking QAnon shit. But
QAnon,
go back to the pizza.
Butt.
We talked about pizza before. So that pizza place I went to that made me physically ill for a while.
It's probably pedophiles.
There's an app called Kakao that we use here. It's sort of like a WhatsApp, but it's Korean. There's a thing on there with a QR code, and frequently when you go into restaurants and whenever I go to my workplace, we have to scan it on a scanner so they can track our. Yeah, it's great because the social distancing, like if I get corona, like they can send a text alert to everyone in my city saying,
when are they going to put one of those fucking scanners in your right hand or your forehead, and then you could just go along? Elon Musk is probably going to, he'll play music in it though. Don't worry.
Oh, but I forgot this. Then I'll stop and let you guys chime in. I also have to pee again, but this is really funny. So the social distancing thing is really sophisticated. They don't use real people's names, but early on in the epidemic, I mentioned the cult that started the epidemic or the outbreak in South Korea in Daegu, but there was a businessman who was traveling to Wuhan, and like it was early on in their social tracing, so they were like revealing too much personal stuff, but they like said like patient so and so traveled to Wuhan on these dates and came back to this city with his secretary, and he got coronavirus. So his wife found out that he was fucking his secretary. Yeah, and it was like a news story, like a national news story. It was really funny. So there have been some sort of comedic things, but I really have to pee. I'll be back in a minute.
Good job, government. The guy's just
hold your thoughts, though. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
The guy's just trying to be a dude, and they just blow up his spot like that. Fuck the government. Oh, it's terrible, dude.
Well, I have to pee. You can make fun of me for 2 minutes. All right, bye.
Jesus fucking Christ! I swear to God, this guy he's like a left-wing meme. He just keeps fucking talking. He's like me, actually, except I say funny shit every now and then, Matt. Good God.
Yeah, you've really met your match, Bryden.
He just wants to. Excuse me, could I finish? Could you finish being gay for a second? God damn! I swear to God, fucking dork.
I swear, maybe we should just have him on every week.
We should have him on every week. Honestly, it'd be great.
With the guests, because it basically means I can just sit here and just not really do anything.
Do you like doing that? I get fucking annoyed if I just have to sit there and not talk.
If they're talking about boring shit, yeah. But like you two are making me laugh. The last time we had a show like this was when we had Bosif on. It was like just you and him riffing, and it was like this is great.
Wait, we had Bosif on?
Yeah, back in March.
Oh, I do not remember this.
Oh, that was a great episode.
That's true. We did. Yeah, talk about coronavirus. I remember.
Yeah. Well, that show was great because, like, you know, at the very end when I was, you know, I said money isn't real, and you just flipped out and started calling me a faggot.
Well, money is real, retard. Like, I don't, you know, Bitcoin's not real. This is this is a call to all of you fucking so-called investors and traders out there that are involved in crypto. You need to take your profits and leave because it's about to get bad. If you want to get back in, that's fine, but take your profit. If you're green right now on your shit, you need to. I'm calling it October 13th, but like I don't like making those types of predictions. That's just my day. But yeah, no, I mean you need to take your profits and leave. This is gonna get bad by November, dude. And I think it's mid-October the fucking market crashes. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But like, if you're a smart guy, maybe you start shorting stuff. But I don't know. But if you're a crypto guy, I would say fuck that. Get the fuck out. If you're green, get out and take it because it's gonna dip lower and you can buy it.
Brian is totally wrong, by the way. Crypto is in fact real. Some of it is. A lot of it is. Like 95. Bitcoin is a store of value that people like use.
Bitcoin is taxed as a commodity and viewed as a commodity, which means the whole deal is that like people who are market makers and shit like that are buying it. Bitcoin goes with the S&P 500. All right. Now all the other things like Ethereum and Link and stuff like that, they go off of Bitcoin. All right. So that means when that dips, that also dips. So you're better off, you know. Take something that is based on a goddamn company. Take something that's actually based on a goddamn company, which has like earnings reports and shit like that. What is Bitcoin based on? It's based on nothing. It's based on market makers saying that it's a thing. Bitcoin
it's based on the same thing that the U.S. that the U.S. dollar is based on. It's literally
hi Mike. It's literally worse than the U.S. dollar because the U.S. dollar is backed by the might of the U.S. government. Bitcoin is based only on goddamn people saying that it's fucking, you know,
all right,
it's
this
a good
reminds
investment.
me about something. All right, so speaking of the election thing, all right, so Trump's
here comes socialist Mike to talk about the stock market.
Well, all right. So this is the thing that stuns me is so Trump, I think, has never been a really ideological figure, which, you know, there's lots of people on the left, like both the radical left and just like sort of the, you know, your typical like sort of hashtag resist Karen moms or whatever, who are, you know,
as we like to call, it's like we like to call the hashtag Karen moms on this show, easy pussy. Am I right, divorced moms? Come on, hook Matt up. He's over in Bulgaria or somewhere. Shit.
I've got higher standards than you guys, I think. But anyway,
here comes the leftist intellectualism again about higher standards than 46-year-old trash dive bar pussy. Listen, some of us are working class, okay? Some of us really, you know.
Oh, I grew up working class. Don't get me wrong. But
Mike got molested by some cougar. 100%. That was his response to that. Mike got molested by a cougar. 100%.
Fuck, what was I even talking about? You keep interjecting and making.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I'm like also really good at this game Among Us. For that same reason, it's my strategy. I confuse, dude. You can't ever debate me, dude. I confuse.
Oh, this was it. All right. So Trump. This is the thing I don't get about Trump because Trump, like, all right. So one weird thing and a mistake that you guys made in the alt-right, because I think both of you at some point considered yourselves part of the alt-right. The alt-right, I think, has been blown apart. It's no longer a category. It's blown into like actual neo-Nazis. It's blown into like alt-right Pizzagate people. It's blown into, not entirely stupid people like yourself.
Racist liberalism.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So Trump's was never sort of a very ideological. He's not a Hitler, right? He doesn't have a political project that he's fanatically committed to. So when all these liberals and people on the left even are just like, we're on the verge. Let me finish.
He's a Democrat.
This thing that like we're on the verge of fascism or whatever. Like Trump doesn't give a fuck. He's just he's sort of the ultimate expression of the decay of like late capitalism. And like, there's a great Marx quote where he's like, you can really tell when a society's in decay because the quality of the leadership like declines. Because like even like in, when capitalism was at its height or when feudalism was at its height, like the quality of leadership was quite high, right? Like these people were dictatorial. They were exploiting the peasantry.
What says that?
Can you let me finish a sentence without interrupting?
I can't. No, I can't personally, actually, because I'm retarded. What
yes,
makes you think that Donald Trump is a bad leader? I think he's a fine leader.
Let me
I think he's
finish
smarter than you give him credit for.
I'm getting there. Let me finish my thought.
All right, genius.
So even like during the height of feudalism, like, you had despotic kings who were totally exploiting the peasantry, but like they produced great art and great culture. But like we are living in late capitalism and the bourgeoisie now, the quality of our ruling class is there's just nothing interesting going on there. And like Trump is he's the perfect postmodern candidate. He's empty. He's vacant. He's vapid. He's just totally. There's just nothing.
Say something bad about him.
I'm getting there. But so the alt-right projected all this shit on him because he was very clever in positioning himself as I'm going to be the vehicle to blow up the system, right? And he wasn't. But so this is the thing that like Donald Trump cares about only one thing. It's like preserving power and brand, right? And if I was Donald Trump and I was the president of a country that has the world's reserve currency, so which means, contrary to Bryden's kindergarten libertarian economics, that means you can print a shit ton of money and do modern monetary shit like Keynesian stuff. You can print a shit ton of money and with minimal inflation risk, right? So if I was Donald Trump, if I was Donald Trump, since the beginning of the pandemic, I would have been sending every individual minimum $2,000 a month.
Yeah, but you're not because you're a commie faggot.
Well, Donald Trump could have essentially bought the election.
Great, and that would have been bad.
Well, yes, I don't want Trump to win. I don't want Biden to win either. But I think as a socialist, I would rather fight a Biden administration.
How cool would it be if it was just like we just elected Mike Cannon?
But it would be great actually.
Just like a record write-in candidate, Mike Cannon, has now won, and I'm like, I really wish I hadn't wrote his name in.
Well, I mean, if I started campaigning, there would probably be a video of me, doing cocaine or something.
Or just this podcast.
Yeah, this one too. Well, I don't know. The Trump grab him by the pussy video didn't derail him. So
yeah, but you're not Donald Trump, bitch. Donald Trump is a goddamn charismatic and smart guy. Whether you think that like his policies are good,
he's charismatic. I wouldn't call him smart.
Oh, he's crazy smart, dude.
No, he's not.
No. He's crazy. Listen, he's crazy smart. Dummy.
But no, like,
listen,
do you not find it?
Dummy, hold on.
What?
He's crazy smart. He's just not fit for the job that he has. I'll tell you that immediately. He's crazy smart, but he's
smart
not
either.
Fit for the job.
Look at his business record. Like, he didn't grow the business he inherited.
Oh, he had 9 bankruptcies. Dude, that's how business works. Like, you're not a business guy. Like, that's literally how it works.
All right, Bryden, you're a business guy.
I literally am a business guy.
How many bankruptcies? How many bankruptcies have you had? Like, how many businesses have you started?
Well, I have no bankruptcies.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Elon Musk here to talk to us about his many.
All right, let me do an actual Elon Musk interview, and I'll just do like 45 seconds of silence staring at you for a second, because that guy's weird the way he does interviews.
Well, no, I mean he's Justin he's Hoffman from Rain Man, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. No, he's pretty good though. But no, I mean that's the way that it is. Like, I mean, if you've got like 30 billion fucking businesses and 9 of them go bankrupt, that's pretty good odds, man. Like, this is pretty good. I gamble. All right, I like blackjack and craps.
What do you gamble with?
Money?
Corn from the Midwest or what?
We
You
have
have
to
money?
we have to kill Mike. I think is what we have to do is murder Mike Cannon. Has anybody decided
after the
to
revolution-
murder Mike Cannon? Antifa, have any of you decided to murder Mike Cannon?
Look, after the revolution, guys, you guys are going to live in a very luxurious Norwegian-style prison that's a gulag in Alaska. You can pick which gaming system you want, PS6, Nintendo Switch 3, Xbox 7, or whatever they're on.
Oh, I'm going to kill myself.
We're
in
going to
like
make it very
3
good
months.
for you.
I'm going to kill myself
You'll have
in
to,
like 3 months. So I'm not.
No.
We're
We're gonna make it good. We're gonna make it good for you.
Like after Biden steals the election, I'm going to kill myself. So I'm not even worried.
How
about it.
is Biden going to? How does someone steal an election when they're not?
That's a great question.
In office.
That's a great question. How
Also,
does somebody steal the
this is the
election?
thing I didn't say before. So, like, and you guys will agree with this. So, like, people keep saying that Trump is going to pull off a coup, right? All right.
That's
Anyone who has spent 10 minutes studying the history of coups d'etats knows that in order to pull off a coup, you have to have the support of the military. The military leadership does not like Donald Trump.
That's also a lie,
because
by the way.
he's disrupting. Well, rank and file may like him. The leadership does not, because Trump is disrupting NATO, disrupting these geopolitical alliances.
I'm sorry.
They do not like him. They want a Biden, and the military leadership is not going to back him up in a constitutional crisis.
That's
so
never going
there's
to
no
happen.
way if the Supreme Court rules that Trump lost the election, he still refuses to leave.
Won't happen.
The Pentagon will escort him out of the building.
We're gonna get that
So-
fucking hot bitch that I want to comb in her hair on, her stringy, weird hair with her blue eyes looking up at me, longingly going, "Give me more cum, Bryden. Give me more."
I think you need to maybe discuss with your girlfriend your.
Oh, it should be
Unmet
fine. I
sexual
mean,
needs.
like, if I had to, like, say, I mean, like, listen, listen, it's for the Republic. I need to come on Amy Coney Barrett's face. You should be okay with it. It's for the Republic.
What are you, 12 years old? Come on, man.
It's the Republic. No, I'm 33 years old, and I haven't grown up since I was 19. All right.
Well, that's why you're still a libertarian, Brian, because we all went for our libertarian phase. We were
I
17.
didn't, but you guys did.
You were 17. Your mom grounded you because you wouldn't take out the trash.
Status,
you had,
bitch.
Zits on your face, and you read Atlas Shrugged, and all of a sudden you thought you were like this misunderstood Ubermensch.
I am.
And then you went to college, and you finally lost your virginity to a thick Latina with huge.
Did you go to
cans.
college, Bryden?
I did. I dropped out, but yeah, I did.
Basically, what I'm saying, Brian, is that you're a spiritual virgin. If you're a libertarian past the age of 19, you're a spiritual virgin.
Oh! Damn, that's a good burn. Fuck you, Matt. Fat piece of shit. God damn.
That is accurately described. Spiritual incel. Let's narrow it down further. Yeah.
You know what? You're all physically fucking bitches. How's that? Dorks? Fuck you, nerds.
I mean, I'm in a very successful, happy, monogamous relationship. I don't know.
Oh,
what you're
yeah. Well, she's not white, so shit, you win again. God damn it.
Well, I mean, she's actually whiter than I am in terms of skin tone.
Oh, yeah, of course she's whiter than you are. You're fucking Irish. So... You go to
but she's
Uganda.
great. She's a lovely, amazing woman. She makes me very happy.
No,
I
she
love her
sounds
very
cool,
much.
and I'm glad she makes you happy, man. I mean, you've been doing that.
Well,
damn
your
thing for a while.
girl's great too. Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's a great person. Hey, Matt, how's this make you feel? Who have you been raping
Matt,
across
settle
European
down.
countries? Huh?
Well, I'll have
Stop
to go
writing
down
those
the
gross
I'll have to go
gross
down the
like Vouch V or whatever that fuck that. Yeah, don't be a third rate, whatever that fucking Indian American guy is, Vouch X.
That third rate every Indian American.
Yeah,
guy.
don't write those. Man, Matt, you're a smart guy. Like those Bang X Country or whatever books you wrote are really gross and disgusting.
No,
and
they're
stupid.
awesome.
And you're above
retarded.
that. You're above that.
No,
you
he's
can
not above
write
that.
good
No.
shit.
He's
can
not
write
above.
shit.
No, he's not above that, and that shit is awesome.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's not.
well, I'll have to go talk to my girlfriend. I'll have to go down to the basement and pull the tape off her mouth. But
Yeah, see,
for fuck's sake, come on, guys. Like, let's.
No, don't
Can you
act.
hold the edgy humor while you have a guest from the other side on?
No. See, like, here's the thing.
I'm already
Mike
in enough trouble. Don't.
Here's the thing Mike always does. Like, he likes to appeal to emotion all the time. Like, I have those that aren't greed, anger, and sadness. He's like, well, what about the and he's like, no. you suck. Like,
No, I get you guys run an edgy comedy podcast and you make edgy jokes. That's fine. But can we? But while I'm on here, let's have a good discussion. We can go for another hour. We can do a Joe Rogan 3-hour thing, but I will have to get off here.
I mean,
by 3,
if Mike's or if Matt's into it, I'm into it. I'll do whatever. But I was thinking.
Well, you can also kick me off if you guys have other shit to do. You can kick me off, but
I literally have nothing else to do.
I made $200 today. I'm happy.
Hell yeah,
so,
dude!
Whatever.
Hell
that's
yeah, dude.
great. $200, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I probably spent $200 today. But,
Mr. Bougie over here. What's he doing? He's going around. He's going to be like, I'm a socialist, and he's like buying.
Nah, it was more like 100. I got a tattoo.
Oh, now he's trying to downplay it. The guy bought a watch today.
It was my buddy's wife, so I tipped her extra.
Then
we went out for a good meal.
It was my. Hold on. Let's take that. Let's clip that. It was my buddy's wife, so I tipped her extra. Damn, fucking Mr. White Cock.
You tip people when they give you tattoos, American style. If someone tattoos you, you always tip. It's like getting a haircut in the U.S. You always tip.
Mr. White Cock, big White Cock bull coming around over to Korea, fucking race mixing
good
and
Lord.
shit.
All right, well, I am out of cigarettes. I need to go downstairs and buy some. There's a convenience store.
Oh, do it. Buy me some while you're down there.
All right. Well, all right. I'm going to come back. You guys take a piss break or whatever you need to do. Let's get to a couple more substantive issues.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
we'll wrap
Whatever you
it
want to do it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I guess I've taken over the pod. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'll be back in.
It's okay.
You've been listening to Twin Cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are cousins after all. All right. I'll be back in 5 minutes. All right.
What a fucking dork. I like how you could like go downstairs and buy cigarettes. That's pretty dope.
I could do that too in Georgia. I mean, for like a month before the convenience store went out of business.
Because of the COVID?
No. This was 2 years ago.
They were just a shitty convenience store.
Well, I was on a side street, and people weren't willing to drive down the side street. They went to all the convenience stores on the main street.
Oh, that's
wasn't that great? That store kind of sucked anyway. They never had any good fucking energy drinks, so fuck them.
Yeah, they probably like sold all of them their first day, and then we're like, nobody's coming here. Fuck, don't restock. Oh my goodness, I keep burping. I'm sorry. Yeah, dude. So, I am thoroughly drunk. I'm on my 5th Bud Light Lime for the day. I'm doing.
I had contemplated getting some beer before I came, but I didn't, so.
I don't know why, like, every time that's a thing. I don't know why you don't, like, always get drunk on the pod. Like, I don't know why you don't do it.
I don't get drunk when I'm alone. I just don't. I mean, that's,
but you're not
alone.
Said it's like we do this and then we talk for like an hour and a half afterwards or some gay shit usually.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm not alone, but I am alone. Like, there's no one else in this apartment.
Oh, dude, think about that. You're like, I'm not alone, but I am alone. You start writing songs? I'm not alone, but I am alone. I'm in a crowd of people, but I feel alone. And you can, like, get really good at guitar. And, like, that'd be a major pivot for you, dude. It'd be like Matt Forney, podcaster, turned country music star. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm more like what Material did with William Burroughs, with you ever listen to that album, The Road to the Western Lands?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I figured you'd be a Burroughs guy, but basically it's just like, it's just rock music, and then Burroughs just reading sections of his book, like the sections that are interesting.
Huh.
There's one song called "Words of Advice for Young People," and it's full of such witticisms as beware of whores that don't want money. Don't get involved in a boy and girl fight.
I like that. Be aware of whores that don't want money, because like that.
Beware of whores who don't want.
Oh, whores! I was thinking something different. Beware of whores that don't want money. Yeah, 100%. That's just called a stupid slut. You don't want to be involved with it. But I was thinking, beware of wars that don't want money, because it's like that's probably a real war. Because like all wars are about money. And resources and shit.
Okay, Smedley Butler.
Who is that?
He wrote War is a Racket.
I don't know what that is, Matt.
How can you, like, mouth off about libertarianism in the Austrian school and you never heard of people like Smedley Butler?
Because I'm just like pretty, intuitive, man.
He was also involved involved in the business plot. You don't know about that?
No.
That was when a bunch of fat cat capitalists wanted to overthrow FDR.
Listen, I'm a simple man, all right? I don't fucking fill my brain with other guys' fucking ideas because I'm not a cuck, all right? And if I can't explain something in 2 sentences, I don't feel that I understand it. I'm an intuitivist. How's that? That's probably a thing, huh? An intuitivist? Is that a thing? That's probably a thing. Or did I just coin it?
Yeah, like you coined it.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm an intuitivist. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. I'm going to make a flag. Intuitivism. I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. And it's just like me hanging out with the Gadsden flag fucking snake, drinking a beer, and I'm like, I think I've got this. That's fucking awesome. I'm gonna go pee when Mike gets back. You tell him about intuitivism. This thing I created.
Yeah, you're listening to Terror House Radio, guys. You know what? I'm just going to do the quick news update here.
Yeah, do that shit. I'm going to go piss. You do the news thing.
News update. Yeah, 6 to 6 by Matthew Schneider, out now from Terror House Press. If you're listening to this on Sunday, it's on sale for 40% off at terrorhousepress.com. You can also get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever. Really great book. Since we're talking about, Marxism, the working class. 6 to 6 is Matt's memoir of working as a taxi driver in the beautiful burg of Tucson, Arizona. And it's a hilarious book. Have you imagined what it would be like for a 83-year-old Mexican woman, drunk off her ass, to light a fire in her apartment and then fall out of the window and then get up and start dancing with a broken arm? Well, it's in this book. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to work at a photo shop? Remember when people still had to have photos developed? You ever wonder what it'd be like to, work at a photo shop and have people come in and have you develop their pornographic pictures? That's in this book too. It's well written. It's entertaining. It speaks to the plain old misery of just being a working man. 66 by Matthew Schneider is out now via Terror House Press. You can also we've got a couple. We've always got new books coming. We'll have more.
All right, I'm back.
In the next
you guys here?
Yeah. Brian went to.
Oh no, I'm back now. It's good. We got books. Buy the books.
We can edit out the pee breaks. It's good.
No. No, we will not edit out the pee breaks. I'm not doing
you guys want to hold listeners? Like, come on, edit out the pee breaks.
No, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. This is a real thing. Now,
it's a matter of artistic integrity, I guess.
Yeah, we're raw. We're real, dude.
It's a matter of his laziness.
Yeah, it's 100% that. I'm not going to do it.
Just shop around in Logic Pro X. You can pirate that shit easily.
Listen, I believe that
I record all my music on Logic X Pro. With a pirated version.
Now, hold on real quick. Matt, hold on, Mike, you devil, you. Matt, did you want to tell people to buy more books, or what was that the end of it?
I did it while you were gone.
All right, okay, it's fine. I don't know. I just care about, the company because that's who I am.
Yes,
that's who I am.
You should buy all of our books. You should buy 2 copies so you can wear one around your neck. You should, buy them and give them to random people.
No, you should buy. You should buy 2 copies. Leave one outside of the building before you can blow it up, you psychopaths.
What is this book you're publishing? This new one?
It came out yesterday. 6 to 6 by Matthew Schneider. It's a memoir of his, Matt's career working as a taxi driver in Tucson. Very funny book. It's very. Bukowski comparisons are overused, but it's very much in that same vein of working an absolute shit job and dealing with crazy people.
So it's bad.
No, it's funny. Sucks. It's very funny. It's very funny, but wouldn't want to be a taxi driver.
I wouldn't want to be compared to
Yeah,
Bukowski.
well, that's why we read novels about it rather than doing it. Right? He did the hard work for us. Yeah, I've
I
been
am-
writing
I am-
my own novel. I think I talked to you about this, Matt.
Yeah.
We're
Been
gonna
writing
publish
a
it.
fictionalized memoir.
We better publish it. You're coming to us for this shit, right? Oh, look at him packing his fucking weird Korean
I'll
cigarettes.
Yeah, I've got some new cigs. South Korean cigarettes, by the way.
Okay.
But
what did I say? Okay,
no,
I'm
I
sorry.
think it's pretty funny so far. So I'm trying to, because a mistake that first-time novelists often make, I know, is their first novel is basically a fictionalized memoir, which objectively this is what I'm doing, but I'm trying to avoid it being too much of a memoir. I'm trying to emphasize the fictionalization, because what happens is like you come out with a really good, funny, witty, scathing satire of the left that's based on your own life and experience in it, and then it's like, all right, what's the next thing? It's like a band that like does a really good first album, and then you have the sophomore slump, right? Because it's like, well, where do we go from here? So I'm trying to like avoid that mistake, right?
Why don't you just do a
And
second
then-
one is like the same thing but from the right? And I'll just help you with it because I'm not gonna write bullshit, but I got stories for you.
You want me to ghostwrite your Art of the Deal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
Bryden Proctor, and then in very small text with Mike Kennan.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the
Emphasize-
smallest text.
Emphasizing the fictionalization, I look forward to that. And then the DSA coordinator from East Kentucky whipped his dick out.
I mean, that literally probably happened.
I'm
Well,
sure
there
it did
is
somewhere.
a
It's a
scene. You
feminine
guys will
dick,
find this.
though.
There is a scene from my childhood that I was just like, this is too good. I can't exaggerate this anymore. So like when I was in college, this is not political, but when I was in college, I experimented with drugs, as we all do when we're in college.
I did.
Bryden
today.
unfortunately missed out on both college and high school, so he may not relate to what I'm saying. By the way, if you want to donate,
Mike missed out on ever doing drugs around people, which makes them so much
by the way,
more fun.
for the listeners who want to donate to Bryden's literacy campaign, you can call 1-800-HOOKED-ON-PHONICS.
For anybody that
donations
wants to
ready.
donate to Mike Cannon, don't worry about it. You'd have to be a retard that doesn't own a phone. I don't know. Damn it, you got me. It's fine.
Yeah, I did get you. All right.
got
Anyway,
me.
all right. So there's a great section of the book because I just thought this was too funny of a story with Go. But anyway,
Oh,
so
but
I'm
see,
in
there he
college.
goes. He sets himself up because there's a great section of the Mike Cannon is not. He's not writing anything. Mike Cannon is mumbling in a fucking hotel in Korea right now. Don't worry about it.
No, it's written and I'm in my own apartment. But all right, so it's freshman in college. Me and my friend who has a different name in the book. Very eccentric guy. Anyway, we get some acid. Right?
Mike Cannon is also I mean, I've read a lot of his work. I would call him, he's very, he's got a character called Inward Gem. All right.
Well, wait for my story, then you can do a bit. All right. So we take acid, and we're outside of our college dormitory. Weather's great, night, beautiful fall weather, perfect temperature. We're climbing on trees and just like hanging out. We've already smoked some pot and like drank a couple beers. We're just hanging out, right? Well, anyway, the acid starts kicking in a little bit, and I get a phone call on my cell phone from my friend's phone. The thing is, though, is my friend lost his phone 2 or 3 weeks prior to this. So I show it to him, and I'm like, I'm getting a call from your phone. That's not you, right? And he's like, no. So we answer it. And it's this guy. So I answer this phone, and this guy is, and I swear you not, I kid you not, like this is straight out of Trailer Park Boys. I answer the phone, and he's like, I was like, hello, who is this? He's like, who the fuck is J-Rock? And he goes on to explain that this guy, that we called him Fat J. He lived in my friend's dormitory. He was this like, he looked like Jabba the Hutt. He was like 400 pounds, and he sold crack, cocaine, and all kinds of drugs out of the dormitory.
Based.
Well, apparently this guy stole my friend's phone and used it as collateral on a crack deal, so that the drug dealer took it. But the thing about this phone, though, it was a flip phone. I mean, this is like 2006, and it was held together by duct tape. You had to use a pencil to turn the phone off to end a call. Like the buttons didn't work even. But apparently, so we start talking to this guy, and we're just like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? It turns out that this guy took my friend Arthur's phone, and we're just recently got to college, right? So like all the numbers in this phone are like the the house phones, like when people still had house phones. These are like the home phone numbers of all of his friends' parents.
Oh,
this
no.
guy went through every single one and left a message being like, yo, this is J-Rock. I want my fucking money. $300 if you want this phone back. He called every single guy, like every parent that this guy went to high school with. So we start talking to the student. We're just like, he's
on
like,
acid. You're on acid.
Well, no, I hadn't kicked in yet. Like this is because acid. There's like a long
It's
up
about
curve.
an hour and a half fucking build up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he called us right at the beginning, so we're still pretty lucid, and so we're just like, he's demanding that we meet him and give him $300, and we're just like, dude, the phone is like worthless. Like we're not giving you $300, and he starts arguing. He's just like, fuck you. I'm gonna kill you or whatever. I was like, dude, calm down, man. Like, chill out. Like, tell me the story. Like, what happened with J-Rock? Well, anyway, he starts going into it, and apparently he has some beef with J-Rock because J-Rock J-Rock has a problem with Big J, who's the fat guy who stole the phone and used it as collateral. And we're just like, all right, what's the problem with Big J? Like, what happened? Like, tell me the history here, right? And so we put him on speakerphone, and we go back into my apartment. And the guy starts crying on the phone.
Oh, shit.
And he's just like, man, fucking Big J. I was in love with that bitch. He fucked my hoe, man. Fuck Big J, man. Fuck him. And so me and my friend, we're just like, the acid starts kicking in. So we're feeling, very empathetic or whatever. Like, we're one with the universe. And we're just like, you know what, Big J, or J-Rock, fuck Big J. You know what, J-Rock, you're a respected businessman in the community. You provide jobs. Like, you're a good guy, Like, fuck Big J. No one likes him. He's like fucking job. You seen Star Wars, man? He's like, yeah, I've seen Star Wars. That fat slug guy. Like, he sits out. He's a bully. He disrespects people. But you know what? You're a good guy. You treat people well. So we like basically do 2 hours of relationship counseling, and then when the acid starts peaking, we say to J-Rock,
no.
we're just like, all right, I apologize, sir, J-Rock. Our acid is kicking in. We have to end the call now because we're tripping out. And he says to us, he's like, shit, gentlemen, if y'all told me y'all was on acid, I wouldn't have bothered you at all. Have a great evening. Then we hung it up. And then I still have this.
Awesome.
I still have this picture it's in my storage unit in Tennessee, along with my records and books. As soon as we hung up that call, me and my friend Arthur were like, what the fuck just happened? So we went to sleep, or we drew this picture. It was basically, we took a Sharpie on a piece of paper and drew a line. We drew stick figures of ourselves, and it was just like tree taking acid, and then J-Rock calling us, and there's a giant question mark in the middle. And then, so my friend crashes on my couch. I go to bed. We sleep for like 10 hours, wake up in the morning. And my friend is just like, Mike, I had the craziest dream last night. I'm like, I did too. Like J-Rock, he was like, oh shit, that actually happened. So that's a chapter in the
That's
book,
fucking awesome. Oh man, I care so much about that. That's so fucking sweet, dude. Just doing wild shit on acid, dude. Wilding out. That's fucking great.
Totally. A lot of the stuff I've mixed up names because some characters are based on real people, but
Sure.
What I just told you is 100% true.
This is like the white version of Dope Fiend.
Yes, maybe.
That's a compliment.
All right, good. Yeah.
You haven't. Yeah, I guess you haven't read it.
I haven't read Dope Fiend. No, I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah,
I've heard what it's about, though.
Yeah, Donald Goines, great writer. His other big novel, Horror Son, that's great too.
I just started the new Michel Houellebecq novel, Serotonin. Have you read that yet?
I haven't. I actually still have to get to Submission. I still haven't looked into that.
Oh yeah, you guys would love Submission. The great thing about that novel is it pissed off both the far right and the far left and the Muslims. Like it pissed off everyone. It's like the perfect novel. It just angered everybody. Yeah, it's like if you know the premise, like Submission is about like it's sort of a near future a satire dystopia. Houellebecq's a French author, so it's like the French National Front wins an election, but they ally with like an Islamist party because they're both like trad on social issues. And then there's like a low-level insurgency. It's basically just this very sophisticated, really clever satire of French politics. It's really, really funny.
Does anybody fart in it?
I don't know, but like Houellebecq's
I don't like
whole
it.
thing. I just started Serotonin, and like Wobeck's whole thing is sort of the existential malaise of like the 40-something alcoholic French intellectual, lusting after young women. It's very. I mean, Wobeck is just a quintessential French author, right? Yeah.
I keep thinking about that a lot. Like, I'm wondering when that's gonna hit me because, like,
I see thinking about being a alcoholic, washed-up French novelist.
You think it hasn't already hit you, Bryden? That's cute.
You have to write a novel first, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I'm working on a fun one. I'm just basically world building a lot. And
you've actually been writing?
Yeah. I've got a whole cool city that I've cultivated that's not even part of the book. Really, I got my book, but like
it's called Quickville.
It's not. It's called Rabbit Rock, and it's an awesome fucking city in Maine. But
awesome city in Maine. That's an interesting.
Yeah, it's Rabbit Rock. It's a cool place. It's on the sea and shit. Like, leave it alone. I'm just like I'm building roads, okay, and like where the stop signs are.
No, writing, like, this is the thing about writing. Like, I've never really written fiction before until I got the idea for this. Like,
fiction's gay.
When I was younger, I haven't done this in years, but when I was younger, I would occasionally write articles for, like, left-wing newspapers. And that's, like, pretty easy to do. It's, like, some fucked up shit thing.
Well, like, how young?
In my 20s.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm 32, so. Well, in my teen, I wrote some articles. I read some articles in high school for a Trotskyist newspaper, but I don't know. Back then, I think as I get older, I have more anxiety and like self-doubt around writing, which is like a thing I know a lot of people struggle with. But like when you're writing just like because I always wrote just sort of topical stuff. It's like, oh, this fucked up thing happened, or I'm working on this campaign. Let me just put on my Marxist glasses and like, this is the take. Like, it's very easy to write, but like writing fiction, it's just glasses. Like you have to writing fiction and, maybe I think Matt has a lot more experience with this, but for me, writing fiction for the first time in a really serious way, I've written random short stories and stuff, but sitting down and trying to actually craft a novel, it's like every sentence you're trying to curate and prune every adjective and adverb. And it's like, is this clever? Is it funny? Is the sentence like kind of pretty or whatever? It's just, it's very exhausting. It's like, after I write 1 or 2 pages, I feel like I have to take a nap. It's just
you're a nerd.
Psychologically draining.
No, you're a nerd.
No.
Write that bullshit. And then
he's fastidious, and it's going to be a good book.
I'm sure it'll be good, but the thing is like, no, stop being a nerd. Just write the shit, get drunk, write the shit, and then like have the editor, have Matt figure it out, dude. It's not up to you. You just write it.
Well, no, I get what you're saying because my problem is I will get stuck on a sentence for like an hour. You're right, though. You have to just let your mind go and just write and then edit. Like, just get some shit on the page. And
I look at bullshit. Right? I look at bullshit. Red lines all across the fucking page because it's all misspelled, and I'm like, I'll deal with that shit later. Who gives a fuck? Like,
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about like the words that you use and stuff. I'm not talking about like typographical errors or
no.
Like
but the
copy editing stuff.
Dude, do what you're thinking about. Do what you're fucking thinking about, and then like later you'll go back and be like, shit. You know what? It'd be better if I did it this way. Like, just fucking write. Like, just sit down and write.
No,
like,
you're right.
I write so much bullshit that like even
free writing is really good. You have to let your mind go because like as long as like you can write 10 pages and maybe half of it's bullshit, but like at least you have something to edit.
I have
right?
no
so
idea.
I
have no idea what's going on in Rabbit Rock right now, but I've done a lot of writing from it, and some of it is making it into the whole book that I told Matt about, and some of it's not. But like I've got all kinds of stuff that's going on in Rabbit Rock. It's just I'm just building a fucking weird town. Just write shit. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter, dude. Who do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are? Are you Mark Twain, my man? No, of course you're not. Who gives a shit? Just fucking write some shit and put it out there and go.
Yeah, but you want it to be good, though. Like, I don't know.
No.
I write music too, right? I don't think I'm going to be John Lennon, but like I want my music to be good. Like you want to like spend time on it.
Nope, that's the wrong way to be in the modern society. What does it have to be good? It's why?
Yeah, I don't want to be bound by our modern society is very sick and
great, and like, it's still
deracinated. Like I don't want to be bound by the rules of our sick postmodern culture, right?
It's still our society, and that's what it's going to be in. Make stuff.
It's barely a society. Yeah.
Make shit and die. It doesn't matter if it's good. I paint shit. Fucking, I do whatever. And is it good? I don't know. I mean, like shit. It's just a thing. Make shit and die. It's not this whole like idea of it. The idea of perfectionism is stupid in the modern age because like What are you doing? Everything that you do is televised to everyone. So just make stuff. Do it like in a way that like is you're really the most genuine way that you have is your heart and soul pouring something out into either writing, painting, fucking making videos, something like that, comedy, anything at all. You anything at all. Who cares whether it's good or bad? You can edit it later, my friend. It doesn't matter. Grab that fucking one feeling that anybody actually has left in their fucking soul and do something with it instead of fucking complaining or being self-conscious about it. It doesn't matter if somebody likes it or not. Make an art. Make shit and die.
Wow, I love that was beautiful, Bryden. I love honest.
Oh, now you're mocking me. Now you're mocking me.
No, I'm not at all. I think it's good when you drop your little like comedy facade and like actually speak honestly. That was good. That's good advice too. Just write and then figure it out later. That's good. Because writer's block is a real thing that you get stuck in, and like you just got to write and then edit it later. That's actually good advice. I mean that sincerely.
You know how I get over writer's block every time? I put a purple alien into the scene.
Well, I just think
I write something like that about a purple alien, and then I go, "That's retarded." I delete it all, and I go and I just do the rest of it.
Well, the thing that I'm most proud of you for is that you only recently learned how to read and write, and it's really impressive that you're already writing.
Yeah, you only recently learned how to have sex with women, so that's pretty cute too.
I've been pretty prolific in my days, but I'm quite a
whoa, Mr. Mike Syphilis Cannon over here. Jeez Louise. All right, calm it down, dude. It's a trad show.
All right. Well, I already I sent you the 3 things we can't talk about. I'll add a 4th one to the list, my sexual history. But anyway,
don't say that. It makes it sound like you've just been banging black butts. That's not good.
Well, I was never sexually confused as Bryden is. I'm very heterosexual. But
listen, I'm
not.
I should say it's generally a good rule not to talk about current relationships, which is why I don't anymore. I'm in a very loving relationship. My girlfriend is amazing and great and very loving. She puts up with my bullshit, which is a lot. But anyway, all right, Matt, I had a question for you. Okay, so I think I've conveyed why I consider myself a socialist and how I think about the political project that I want to contribute to building. You started Terror House Press. Why did you do that? Like, what was the motivation for you starting Terror House Press? Well, when I've been writing in some form or another on the internet for 11 years. 11 years. I started when I was 21 with a kind of.
How old are you, by the way? I think you're about our age, right?
I'm your age. I'm your age. I'm 32. I turned 32.
Okay. Bryden's what?
He's 33. So this is basically the 30-year-old boomer hour.
Yeah.
Well, I just turned 33, by the way. I was on the 17th. This is the 26th now. All right, I'm newly.
Well, the thing about Korea is they have a different age system. So like they count the time in the womb, and also like when New Year's happens, you age an extra year. So like let's say a baby in Korea is born in December. In January, they can be 2 years old, but like they exited the womb like 12 days ago. Well, so like I have students where it's just like, how old are you guys? And they're like, I'm 12, and it's like in international age, you're 9 or 10. And there's a big difference between a 9 or 10-year-old and a 12-year-old in terms of like maturation and like cognitive ability, right? So it's very confusing. But anyway, Matt,
this sounds like a libertarian's nightmare. Because they all fuck kids because they're terrible.
You come across a teenager and she's like, I'm 45.
Yeah,
but anyway, to answer your question, when I started running, like my goal was, I never intended to like get into really politics. I mean, I fell into it, but like my goal was to actually write shit that would be, to be a novelist, to write stuff that would be entertaining and somewhat meaningful. About 3 years ago, there was a writer I met via the internet named Richard Power, who had published a couple of pieces on my blog back in 2015. A weird sort of erotica. One was about it was a weird sexual fantasy where he talked about fantasizing about watching getting lectured on neoconservatism by some chick, and he was fantasizing about carving a wound in her thigh and then fucking it. And then the second one was about The second one was him talking about several of his prior relationships and why he lies to women. But they were well written. They were entertaining. A little disturbing, but they were entertaining.
We have different tastes, I guess. I would find that only disturbing and not entertaining. But
Pussy.
Well,
anyway.
Well, we won't go there. But anyway, about 3 years ago, he emails me. I hadn't heard from him in a couple of years. And he's like, I've written this memoir, this book, and I want you to publish it because, like, I don't want, he doesn't want any kind of public profile. He's totally anonymous. I don't even know who he is. And he trusted me to kind of do the marketing for him, edit it and whatnot. And I started reading this thing. And it was really damn good. I was thinking, why don't I start a publishing company? I make this the flagship product. So I pitched the idea to him, and he was like, yeah, that sounds cool. The book has been published. It's called Letters from a Heartbroken Pervert. And I was like, yeah, this is basically the culmination of what I want to do with my life. I don't do politics, kids. Politics is a fucking waste of time.
Matt just wants to hang out with guys like me all the time. He just wants to hang out with failed comedians. This is, guys, if you want to fucking really make it in life, start a publishing house and just hang out with fucking washed up comics. It's
that is literally more productive than going into politics.
It is,
but
actually, it is.
Yes. I disagree with that. All right, that's an interesting thing, Matt. But all right. So I came into this podcast expecting some hardball questions. Like,
why?
I don't know.
I literally told you 1,000 times it's just bros hanging out, and you were like, I am going to make it a thing.
How often do you have like an act? I'm not talking about like, someone who, hangs out on Reddit and liked Bernie or whatever. Like, I'm an actual socialist who's done real shit. Like, throw some hard questions at me. What do you like? If you want to interrogate a leftist, like, throw some hardball shit at me. What do
I need to know about a fucking leftist?
It's not about you. It's for your listeners, right? I'm sure your listeners want some hardball questions.
No, those guys suck, and they'll just be mad or happy.
This isn't even my podcast. I'm more concerned.
Well, I don't know. You fooled me, Matt. You fooled me.
I did a survey a while back. The Terror House readership is like split three ways. There's like 1/3 left wingers, 1/3 right wingers, and then there's like 1/3 people who just don't care. So it's not like it's not like the people listening to us. A lot of them are going to be mind blown by this. A lot of them are Bernie supporters.
Yeah, there were. Bernie especially in 2016, he attracted a wide swath of people, but he got bullied into being too woke. Same thing happened to Jeremy Corbyn around the EU thing, but I don't know. Like, let's see.
Here's a hard question.
We've got another half an hour before I'll have to sign off. Like, just throw some, if you want to throw some curveball questions, gotcha moment questions. Bring it.
Why would I curveball you, dude?
I want a challenge. Come on. I've enjoyed talking with you guys, but throw me some.
Why would I curveball you, dude? We're friends. Why would I I'm only going to come in good faith at you, dude. And that's what that's not bad faith. Like, throwing curveball questions and like challenging people is not necessarily bad faith. I'll challenge you on stuff, but that.
But what do you think? Like, so a lot. Matt just said 1/3 of your listeners are right wing people who've probably never really engaged with like socialist stuff before.
They're
like, what are the kind of questions you think they would have? Like, throw them at me.
I don't know. Do you see? I think this is hilarious. Xi Jinping is like really hilarious. Is Zizek and Xi Jinping? Like, do you think that's a good character? Xi Jinping. I think that's a great.
I'm not
character.
on Twitter these days. Am I missing a meme?
No. It's something I made up that Matt didn't think was funny. Erica didn't think it was funny. I told it to you earlier, and it seemed that you didn't think it was funny. I think it is good. Xi Jinping.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story about Zizek, though. All right, so I always thought that this was just his public persona because he has all these
being
weird,
a fucking fat, weird Bannon, but with a weird speech impediment retard.
Well, so when I lived in Ohio, and I think, not going to get doxy, but someone on this podcast is familiar with Ohio. But
I live in Cincinnati. So everybody knows that. I've literally posted my address on Twitter. Nobody gives a shit.
All right, I didn't.
Somebody doxed my mom the other day. Like, the last time I had a Twitter account.
These people are terrible.
Antifa tranny doxed my mom. I don't give a shit. Well, I posted my number on fucking Twitter.
I'm not going to be language police, but tranny is kind of a insulting term.
Okay, I'm friends with a guy who's dating a tranny, and I feel that I'm allowed to say
transgender person. Come on. Let's be polite, right? I've been polite with you guys. Let's be polite
The
with people.
person that doxed my mom? Nah, that's a tranny, dude. I'm not gonna be polite with
Well,
them.
you can just call them an asshole. Everyone has an asshole.
No, I'm gonna call him a tranny. I'm gonna call him a tranny. But yeah, no, they doxed my mother's address. I'm gonna call him a tranny.
Well, them then being
you said
transgender has nothing to do with them doxing. They're just an asshole for doing that. It has nothing to do with their gender.
I'm gonna come to your fucking Korean house and kill you, dude. That's and that's what they would have said to me.
Well, you live in a Trump economy, so you don't have the money to do that. So,
but I live in a Trump economy, which means that like I can go do that because the Trump economy is good.
Well, you're looking at 2 weeks of quarantine first, so.
What, going to Korea? Yeah, but I wouldn't go to Korea.
You have to pay for it.
Oh no! I'll have to pay for things. Gee, me, the libertarian guy, I'll hate that paying for things.
Well, if you're a Korean citizen, like a buddy of mine who's Korean American, he's studying in the U.S. now and is coming back here. He's going to have to do the quarantine. If you're a Korean citizen, you can quarantine at like just your friend or family's home, but if you're a foreigner, you have to do it in a government facility, and it's
serious? What are those like? Shit.
They're good. I mean, like they provide food and stuff, but like it's basically you have to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks.
No, it's great. They feed you. But like you have basic shit.
It's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry. That the Korean government sounds authoritative as shit.
I mean, I have my critiques of Moon, but. Fuck, I'm so happy that I'm here and not in the U.S. If the U.S. doesn't have a functional public health system, it doesn't even have.
That's true.
It's a highly polarized society. It doesn't even have a functional state. Like, it's a disaster. So when you call me a statist, I'm just like, yes, if statist means like we have like good public health services, like there's when my paycheck, when I get it, there's a little bit that goes out to my public health insurance. Like, I have never waited for a doctor's appointment. Like, all right, I told you about this, Bryden. Like my apartment loft. I think I talked about this too, man.
Fell.
I stepped off the stairs in the morning. I woke up and tripped on a sock, and I have this weird staircase in my loft. Yeah. I fell, broke my nose, and I went to the doctor. And they were like, all right, well, okay, we did a scan, and this cost like $8, like the initial thing. And they were like, all right, we did a scan. Here's the scan. You broke your nose, and we're going to have to do some surgery, and you're going to have to stay in the hospital for 4 days. I'm like, well,
I was worried about you. I was worried about you and your wallet.
I told them, I was like, I looked up this surgery on YouTube, and in the U.S., it's outpatient. And the doctor was just like, oh, you're American, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. He was like, I understand. I studied in the U.S. Like, Americans are afraid to go to the hospital. But in Korea, we actually try to make patients comfortable. So in the U.S., it's an outpatient procedure. But in Korea, we try to take care of patients. So it's going to be maybe $200 or $300, and then we'll keep you here for 4 days and feed you, and you'll just rest, and that'll be good. And I told my boss that, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no problem." So I got to use my sick day, and my bill at the end was like, I don't know, what was it? I forget it. I posted it on Facebook. I think. Well, wait. I'm not friends with either of you guys on Facebook, but
no, I don't.
It was like $300 or $400 in the U.S. That would have been $10,000, even with like.
More than $10,000. More than $10,000.
Well, and
4 days in the
I
hospital.
posted that on Facebook, and some of my British friends who like have the NHS, they were like, "Wait, you had to pay money to get surgery?" So like the NHS is even better. So, fuck. Was going to circle back to your original point, but I lost my train of thought.
Well, let me ask you this, dude. Like, if Trump just gave people Medicare for all, would you guys just vote for him and then we can get rid of all the illegals?
No, I wouldn't. Because...
see, there you go. Now he has to kill all people.
This your comment here kind of reveals your naivete, not to be rude, about how politics works. Like, look, Trump doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't want to do anything.
That's why he's great.
Him running for, I don't think he even wanted or expected to win. He ran for president to promote his brand because Trump is a brand.
Donald Trump wanted to win, but he is a brand. But yeah, no, and I think he's been a fine Republican president.
The idea that Trump has some like secret wish to like help poor people is just total bullshit.
Oh, I agree
Like
with you.
Bernie,
Yeah.
if you know anything about Bernie's history, Bernie is a
Oh,
Marxist.
Bernie Sanders? You mean the sellout Bernie Sanders? Yeah.
Well,
no,
I
he's
will
awesome.
tell you this. This is one thing I don't think
At
gets
least Trump
talked
never
about enough.
sold us
because-
out yesterday.
No, I've met people who knew Bernie back in the day in the 70s when he was in like actual revolutionary socialist organizations.
Yeah, I'm sure he was a
All
faggot
right,
back
so
then.
let's-
I guarantee
All right,
it.
let's imagine Bernie got elected in 2020, right? And Bernie has that history. He has the existential fanatical commitment.
Well, we
like,
would have had that. Well, okay.
let me finish my point, please.
All right, genius.
All right, let's say Bernie is elected and he has that fanatical, Bolshevik. Well, I don't want to say Bolshevik. But
you
he
shouldn't.
has a
Our
fanatical
listener
commitment.
would hate
He's
it.
like, all right, I've been elected. It's not about me. I'm an agent of history. I'm an electoral expression of a movement. I am going to aggressively pursue Medicare for all. I will tell you, this is exactly how it would have played out. So even, let's say we have supermajorities in the House and the Senate going into January 2020 and Bernie is inaugurated.
Oh, so we're redoing everything.
What would happen is Bernie would propose things like the Employee Free Choice Act, which would make it much, much easier for workers to organize unions. He would propose Medicare for all. He would probably try to nationalize some things. He would probably have a very sweeping agenda. But most of the Democratic Party are still centrists. This is a reason why he got kneecapped during the primaries, because the Democrats, they don't like Trump, but at the end of the day, they're more comfortable with Trump than they are with Bernie. Because the thing that Bernie understands is that if he were to propose those sweeping pieces of legislation, he knows that, of course, Congress is going to cockblock him, even a supermajority of the Democratic Party.
This is what happened to Trump.
So what Bernie Sanders would do is he would go on national television and say to the American people, look, I am trying to implement an agenda that is going to dramatically improve your life, increase the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour, Medicare for all, end of college tuition. But these people in Congress are blocking the will of the people. So I am calling on the American people to launch a general strike and
fucking
march on
crazy.
Washington to shut the country down. And you know what happens with that?
That's insane what you're saying.
No, let me finish. What happens is you get a Chile 1973 scenario where you had a populist left president who was very much sort of a Bernie, and he had the same weaknesses in terms of like being naive about being able to like actually legislatively implement socialism. And then there's a military coup. So if in the left, the thing is the left is not prepared for a military coup. So in 1917, the Bolsheviks had cells in the military, embedded in the military. They were organized on the front lines during World War I, like getting soldiers to throw down their guns and saying, we're not going to shoot other working class people anymore. They had people embedded in the labor movement. They were controlling like local governments in major cities. The left has none of that, right? So part of me is actually relieved that Bernie lost, because had Bernie won and actually tried to aggressively push his agenda, in order for that to work, you have to have a robust social movement left that is ready to actually take up arms to defend what we're doing. And the left now, I mean, we've talked about
the
left is largely a middle-class cultural movement with pink-haired weirdos who LARP, right? Like, these aren't people, if you read about the history of the Russian Revolution, these were brave fucking people who were willing to die for what
100%.
they believed in. We don't have that. I mean, we've all seen the videos of the DSA convention, right? Like, don't talk to me, don't whisper. It's like, you're not going to overthrow the most powerful, like, ruling class in the history of the world.
Let me ask you this. In your personal opinion, like, I mean, obviously think me and Matt are, like, cool enough guys to hang out with or whatever. Like,
sure,
I'm just happy that we get, like, a comedy to come and talk to us and shit like that. But, like, I mean, I really hold the way that I look at Antifa is I think they're misguided people. I don't really look at them in the same, like, hatred that a lot of them look at me. I mean, I know I've got some Antifa people that watch everything I do, and that's fine. They're bored, and they're nerds. But, like, how do you get that left-right divide? How do you get that, red-brown alliance or whatever you want to call it, really? How do you get, like really to say that the CIA is fucking us like every day? Like, I mean, because like from our end, I think that a lot of that is coming, because like everybody on the right side of the spectrum seems to be pretty open to talking with people on the left. mainly because we've been viciously deplatformed by the fucking, YouTubes and all that shit and the neoliberal, whatever you want to call it. But like the left seems to have like no platform. And I'm like, bitch, I almost said the N-word. Bitch, I am the platform, on my D Live, on this, I like any of that. We're the guys with the most popular platforms. How do you get that to, like people to talk and like have these conversations, which is like ultimately like, is capitalism great? Probably not. Is the CIA good? No. How do you get people to fucking relate on that if you could try to choose a way?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I've always been critical of this no platform thing because
it'll happen to you guys too.
Look, I mean, the thing is
It
like
already is.
Yeah.
like you guys are putting your political opinions out there, and I think some of your listeners who have leaned towards more your politics have probably heard what I'm saying, and they're gonna like drift, and they're gonna probably think, oh, I've never really heard a socialist actually who isn't insulting me and saying that you're white, so you're fundamentally bad and you're congenitally evil, or you're a man and you're congenitally evil. I think they're going to hear somebody who's a socialist and is like, those people that you've have resentment towards, like they're actually your allies. I think that some of your listeners who lean right towards your politics are going to be listening to me right now, and they're going to drift further to my political position. That's why you're actually giving me a platform. So, I hate the no platform thing because it's like these people want to live like, this is the thing, right? Like I get it with music scenes, like having your own little subculture and like being the authentic punk or the authentic like new wave scenester or whatever. I get it. Like that's a thing that teenagers do. I was part of it. I had my own scene. Like, oh, you're not wearing the right clothes. You don't like the right bands. Like you're not part of our scene. Like I get that. But this is politics, man. Like this is like shit that affects people's actual lives. You can't turn politics into a subculture. And I'm constantly criticized and at war with other people on the left about this. It's just like, look, I know it can be uncomfortable to debate people who don't agree with you. Like, I hate this shit. Like, I guess you guys don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I deactivated Twitter, so I'm primarily on Facebook. But I have lots of, some of my best friends or my high school buddies who voted for Trump in 2016. Like, am I going to throw away 15, 20 years of a personal relationship of like people that I've had deep relationships with and experiences with, like the kind of people that I could call in the middle of the night if my life falls apart and I need help, right? Like, no, there is like this sort of cult like thing within the left. And I think the right too, like it's parallel to both sides. Like, oh, if these people disagree with my politics, they're out of my circle. It's like, no, I mean, like, all right, yeah, you have some shitty political opinions, but like we've known each other for 15 years. Like, we're bros. We can talk about like Radiohead or something. Like, it's not, there are other things in life other than politics. So I really resent the way that everything has been boiled down to like, are you on blue team or red team? And also like in many cases, like I'm on like fuck Joe Biden, fuck Donald Trump. Like also I'm critical of Bernie. Like there's a range of political perspectives, and it's like I can have a friendly conversation like I'm having with you guys tonight.
Can you give Donald Trump a little credit on the fact that, like, yeah, I mean, I don't like a bunch of his policy bullshit, but like, man, he really gave, conservatism or whatever you want to call it, kind of a kick in the ass into being like, now there's like weird Donald Trump rap songs which are so cringy and gay. But like
thankfully, I've never heard those. So.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna send you like a ton of them. They're rough.
I'm not gonna watch them.
They're rough, dude. They're rough. They're pretty.
I've
rough.
seen the Baked Alaska one, like Trump, you a bro. I like you. I'm a MAGA hat, and so are you. Like whatever the fuck he did.
Yeah, I don't think those are the lyrics at all.
I think that guy got brain damage in Charlottesville. But.
Well, Baked Alaska. Well, he is the greatest surrealist filmmaker of our time.
100%. He's a good guy. No, he's an awesome guy.
I mean, he may be a nice guy, but he seems like
he's a really nice person.
Yeah, I'm guessing Mike doesn't know what I'm referring to. And it's probably better that you don't.
Well,
I mean, I'm not. I haven't. I'll be honest. Maybe he's done some good stuff that I haven't seen, but I'm just familiar with his sort of post Charlottesville stuff, and it's just sort of sad and weird. I honestly feel bad for him.
What?
Because it seemed
He's
like he had
doing
a
fine,
promising-
dude. He's doing okay. He's got a bunch of money and shit. He's doing all right.
Yeah, he's he's leading mentally unstable women around Phoenix to Walmart.
Yeah,
And
that
streaming
shit
it.
was weird. But like, dude, he's got plenty of money, and that's how I measure a person's like well-being. It's like they've got a bunch of money, right? They're doing okay.
This just in. Bryden approves of George Soros.
Yeah, pretty much. He's doing great. I don't like what he does, but he's doing fucking awesome.
Well, yeah, he's not going hungry. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude, he's fine. I mean, he's basically like a weird-looking Star Wars creature, but he's doing okay. George Soros is fine. What he does is wrong, but he's doing okay. That's why, like, why does the left hate Jeff Bezos so much? They're mad about like his like, oh, he doesn't pay taxes. I'm like, he doesn't. The media, like he owns a.
Have you ever worked in a? I never worked for Amazon, but I worked for the UPS Supply Chain Solutions, which is the non-union side of UPS, which is basically if you do an online startup, you pay UPS to do Amazon style work. It was terrible. It's horrible. I got fired for trying to organize a union because I was working with the Teamsters.
Oh my god! Of course, you got fired for trying to organize a union.
But anyway, let's get back to hard questions. Matt, all right. So Bryden threw one at me. Matt, give me a hard question. I'm a socialist. I'm a communist. I'm a Marxist. Throw a hard question at me.
He's a gay guy.
What's your opinion of Enver Hoxha?
Hold on, before you do that, can somebody tell me who that is?
Very interesting question. Okay, all right. So my opinion of well, you've lived in that area, so I always pronounced it Hawka.
Is
that incorrect?
Oh shit!
No, it is Hoxha.
Hold on.
Hoxha. Okay. He was a Stalinist dictator of.
And he was like really into killing people and shit.
He was the guy who was more Stalinist than Stalin.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think. Look, have you ever read the book "The Revolution Betrayed" by Trotsky?
I have not.
All right, so let me briefly summarize that book, and then I highly recommend you read it. It's just good, regardless of your political orientation. So Trotsky obviously was the leader of the Red Army. He won the Civil War during there was the Bolshevik Revolution, and then immediately there was a Civil War. Trotsky was the commander of the Red Army. He won the Civil War, and immediately after that, Lenin had a policy that was called the New Economic Policy, which is basically saying, okay, we recognize we're socialists, we're communists, we want to build a socialist society, but we recognize that Russia's backwards, so we're going to allow some room for markets, especially in the agricultural arena, so we can kind of like resuscitate our economy after this war. So that lasts until Lenin dies, and I think Lenin dies in 1927, I think. But anyway, so after that, Lenin dies, and he was sort of the glue that held these various factions of the Bolshevik Party together. And then all these debates emerged, like, okay, what do we do now? Like, we're isolated. Like, we won the Civil War, but we're still under embargo. We're trying to build socialism. They had banked everything on the revolution spreading to Germany, which was a very industrialized country. And they thought, well, Germany can, like, bail us out. Like, once the revolution spreads through Europe, we can industrialize Russia and move forward. But all of those revolutions fizzled out in Western Europe. So they're faced with this dilemma. How do we build socialism in the former Russian Empire? So there's all these different proposals put forward. You have Trotsky, who wants to militarize labor and do a rapid industrialization. You have Nikolai Bukharin, which, by the way, Stephen Cohen is a great Russian scholar. He died a few days ago. He wrote a fantastic political biography of Nikolai Bukharin, who's a really neglected figure in the Bolshevik Revolution. I highly recommend everyone listening to this read that book. Stephen Cohen's, it's just called Nikolai Bukharin, a political biography. So Bukharin is proposing basically continuing this policy of like letting the market kind of breathe a little bit and like letting us grow into socialism. So like keep the main pillars of the economy nationalized, start experimenting with like workers' control of industry. And Trotsky has this extreme view of militarizing things. All right, so Stalin enters the picture. And one thing that people don't realize is right before Lenin died, he wrote a letter saying Stalin's dangerous. You have to remove him.
Stalin is awesome.
Well, Lenin, like, there's a great book by what's his last name? He was a Georgian guy, actually. We talked about Georgia earlier. Lewin, Toshi Lewin, or something like that. Oh, Moshe Lewin. It's called Lenin's Life.
Moshe Lewin.
Yeah, and anyway, Lenin at the end of his life was writing a lot because he was concerned about this bureaucratic degeneration, because all of the Bolsheviks had intensely studied the French Revolution, and they were worried about the Napoleonic kind of thing where the revolution has these grand aspirations and then it's overtaken and degenerated by like this dictatorial figure. So people were very worried about that, Lenin in particular. But people, because they had studied that, they were thinking, all right, who's going to be the next Napoleon? So who was Napoleon? He was a brilliant general who won the war in France, because after the French Revolution, France was invaded by multiple empires because they were afraid of spreading the contagion. And very charismatic, very arrogant, very artistic and literary. Who fits that category? Trotsky. So the party starts kind of going against Trotsky. But the thing about Stalin is he was never a very smart person. He was never a theoretician. But the thing is he had a very important bureaucratic position. I think it was my history may be a little off here, but I'm not an academic historian. But he had a position within the party, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, that was responsible for appointing various positions. So Stalin had orchestrated this entire network of people who were very loyal to him. They owed him some sort of gratitude for their positions. So when these faction fights break out, it's basically Bukharin, which becomes the so-called right opposition, because he's wanting to continue the new economic policy that Lenin had, like letting markets breathe, like maximal artistic freedom, a single-party state, kind of like a Cuba-style model. Like in Cuba, I spent a lot of time in Cuba. It's a one-party state, but there's a lot of like political and cultural freedom.
I like how he just like threw in there. He was like, "By the way, I've got a little brown pussy anyway, so I'm gonna go on with my boring bullshit."
Let me finish my monologue here. But so, and then you have Trotsky on the other side, who's just like, we have to, like, Trotsky was wanting to like send funds and soldiers to continue trying to instigate revolution, and then Stalin very cleverly, using these connections he has in the bureaucracy, navigates his way between these two. So it ends up where Stalin like sort of plays both sides against the center, and Stalin drifts to the top. And then he expels Trotsky from the Soviet Union. So Trotsky ends up, no country would take him except Mexico. I forget that guy's name, but at that time there was a social democratic president of Mexico finally like let Trotsky in. He went on to have an affair with Frida Kahlo. That's a whole interesting other story. But anyway, he writes this great book called The Revolution Betrayed. And he basically writes an analysis of the Russian Revolution that basically became a tragedy like the French Revolution. And he predicted that if the working class fails to overthrow the new Stalinist bureaucracy, eventually the bureaucracy will crystallize and start to think, oh, well, we have all this state property. Let's just privatize it and sell it off to our children, which is exactly what happened in 1991. That's my analysis of what happened in the Soviet Union. But what was your original question? I
asked you what you thought of Enver Hoxha.
Okay, so this is relevant. I was trying to...
Okay, hold on. Wait, you know what's really relevant?
My analysis of it...
What was that country where they killed all the guys with glasses?
Cambodia.
Yeah, I understand that shit like so much now. Like you're a boring faggot. It's so boring.
So what happened is after the Stalinist degeneration, the Soviet Union is now, because there was no internet then, there were no cell phones. People didn't really understand like the extent of the purges and the political oppression. So the Stalinist model that Stalin replicates, which is, because like under Lenin's term, like Lenin was kind of the leader or whatever, but like you could be in the Communist Party and like get up and give a speech and be like, Lenin, you're fucking wrong about this. This is bullshit, and you're not going to get shot, right? Like as long as you're within the party, it was like multiple parties within a party. Like the party was the state, and there were like multiple parties within it. It's the same way that Cuba works now, right? So like the Cuban Communist Party, for example.
Oh, so all of those guys were poor and ugly?
But what with Stalin, it's just like ultimate loyalty to me or nothing. So this distorted Stalinist model gets imposed, especially after World War II, on all of these places in Eastern Europe, Central Europe, etc. So I think basically Albania didn't really have an organic working class revolution. It was sort of that model was imposed from without, and Enver Hoxha was like a pointed kind of like Stalinist guy. And I know Albania went off on its own weird path after the Khrushchev de-Stalinization, but that would be my analysis of both Albania, or not both, but Albania and many other instances around the world, including North Korea. Like this Stalinist model got imposed on, like you have these anti-colonial movements that seize power, and then like the Soviet Union is the only major power in the world that's like offering guns and money. So the Soviet Union ends up shaping those political systems in their own mold. So that's how you end up with these really distorted, terrible regimes. And yeah, I'm not someone who would ever defend Enver Hoxha. I mean, obviously, coming out of World War II, did Enver Hoxha deliver some real material benefits to Albanians?
Well,
somebody should kill you, honest to God, because the only thing that I've been thinking about is like, you can call me Betty, and maybe you can call me Albania. Dun, 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 dun. And Chevy Chase is like dancing all over your fucking face. This is boring. This is why you people aren't funny and you're not good at memes. Who gives a shit about your fucking, who is this nerd that Matt knows about also? Who gives a shit? You guys are nerds.
Well, I just asked about it. He was asking for, I guess it's a hardball question because nobody ever talks about Enver Hoxha.
No,
as for what he did for the country,
awesome.
Yeah, well, as for what he did for the country, well, he raised the literacy rate from 5% to 95%. He industrialized the country. He electrified it because
wait, Matt.
Well, I've read articles. There's nostalgia. I mean, like in a lot of like when I went to Uzbekistan, like one of my close friends is from Uzbekistan. I went there with him. Like every person over 50 that we talked to was just like, yeah, like I really regret the fall of the Soviet Union.
Wait. Let me ask you this, Matt. So when you say you raised it from 5% to 95% in the literacy rate, what were they reading? Were they just reciting commie bullshit, or were they like, reading Terror House books?
They were translating stuff from the West. I mean, what little passed the censors. I stayed in an apartment in Albania that was full of like copies of like Tom Sawyer that had been translated in the 80s.
Well, see, because that's the thing. It's just like people talk about like, oh, look at fucking.
I want to hear from Matt. Like we're talking about Albania, and like only one of us has been to Albania. So Matt,
I've been to Albania.
Have you talked to older Albanians? What is their view about Enver Hoxha?
Nobody really remembers Hoxha fondly because in terms of repression, it was extremely brutal there.
No, it was uniquely brutal. It was like him and Ceausescu were uniquely brutal. Yeah.
Yes, and also the country was even by communist standards very, very poor because by the time the 80s rolled around, Albania was totally internationally isolated because they broke with the Soviet Union, then they allied.
Yeah, they
with
weren't
China.
even in the Warsaw Pact, right? Like they couldn't.
Yeah, they withdrew in after the invasion of Czechoslovakia. So the country, and also Hoxha was obsessed with autarky and making the country self-sufficient, which basically meant it was almost impossible to get goods in or out.
Juche syndrome. Same thing with North Korea. Yeah.
It was almost impossible for Albanians to leave Albania. It was impossible for pretty much non-Albanians to visit. And he also spent a lot of money on bunkers. The bunkers everywhere. There's
yeah. They're like museums now. Yeah.
Yeah, the bunkers are cool to look at, but like that I think consumed like 5% of Albania's GDP.
Well,
nobody really remembers Hoxha that fondly. Oh, I should have went to one other thing. This is something you probably approve of. He got rid of the Code of Lek, which basically made women prior to him getting rid of that, women were basically treated like chattel.
Yeah.
Well, Mao did that goddamn same thing, because like there was this whole big like chicks for Mao or whatever deal.
Well, one model that I've been interested in, especially lately, because it's not something I've explored, like Yugoslavia under Tito, which has a lot of problems. It wasn't a perfect society, but I've spent time in Cuba, and one of my close friends is in the Cuban Communist Party, and he's told me about the debates they're having about like how do we do socialism in the 21st century. And And within the Cuban Communist Party, you basically have three factions. Like there's one faction that's like old school Stalinists, like boomers who don't want to change anything. Then there's like people who want to pursue like a Chinese Vietnam model, which is has lots of problems. And then there's like a third camp that was really inspired by like Venezuelan or Chavez and the Bolivarian wave. They're trying to think very creatively about how you build socialism under new circumstances. And he's in that last faction. And I think in Yugoslavia, like Yugoslavia was unique. They also withdrew from the Warsaw Pact and there's a really funny.
They were never part of it in the first place.
Oh, that's right. Well, they withdrew from
Comecon.
Yeah, they withdrew from the Soviet like alliance, I guess. Because Tito started the non-aligned movement, right?
Yes.
But there's a really funny anecdote where like Stalin was sending assassins to kill Tito because he didn't like this, and Stalin wrote a letter and sent it to Stalin and said like, "Hey, stop sending assassins to kill me because we'll defeat them at every time, and don't provoke me because when I send an assassin, I'll only have to send one." So like he just like pulled out some big dick energy on Stalin, which was pretty great. But anyway, like Yugoslavia, and again, I highly recommend, like, especially to you, Matt, this Stephen Cohen. He just passed away the other day. Great guy, Russian scholar. He wrote a brilliant biography of Nikolai Bukharin. Like, had Bukharin won the faction fight, the whole world might look very different. And he argued for like pluralism and cultural freedom. He wrote a lot of stuff in prison. Like Stephen Cohen actually found the last love letter he wrote to his wife while he was in jail. And his wife was much younger than him, so she lived until the 90s. In the 80s, he was doing research in the archives, and he found the last love letter that Bukharin wrote to Anna Lorena, his wife, and was able to give it to her, which is a very sweet story. But Yugoslavia kind of had this model, right? Like, I'm not like, if you like kind of 80s new wave music, like look up on YouTube. I'll send you some links. If you're on Facebook, add me. Just don't ever comment on any of my posts if you're using your own name. But
I'm banned from Facebook.
Oh, really? All right. Well, we're on Instagram. I'll send you some links. There's some fucking awesome 80s new wave Yugoslav music. It's really great. One of my good friends here in Korea, she's a PhD student, and she's from Croatia. We talk about Yugoslavia a lot. She's turned me on to like some really, really good stuff. So like, yeah, like Bukharin's model for the Soviet Union was just like, yeah, we have one party and like the core pillars of the economy are nationalized and worker run, but let the market breathe a little bit. And like, yeah, just let people like do art and freedom. Like, don't impose socialist realism on everyone. Don't restrict, like, because Bukharin was a beautiful writer. There's a novel that he wrote in prison, and it's very haunting because the last sentence cuts off as he apparently, I've heard this story. I don't know if it's true, but it's called Where It All Began or How It All Began. And it's sort of a fictionalized memoir of his childhood and stuff. And the last sentence ends abruptly because apparently he was writing it, and then they came and dragged him out of his cell and shot him. And Stalin was a notorious collector and kept everything that he wrote. He wrote a giant book of beautiful poetry that was published. God, all my books are in a storage unit in Tennessee. I just want to teleport them to Korea. While he was in prison, he also wrote a great book called Socialism and Culture. So it's like the relationship between socialism and culture, which is really brilliant. He wrote what a brave guy, right? Like, he gets arrested during the purge because Stalin is trying to clear out the final, because he killed, this is true with every revolution. Like, the people who lead historic revolutions that change history are the most brilliant minds at the time, right? Like, the people who led the Bolshevik Revolution, Lenin, Trotsky, Zinoviev, Bukharin, like all of these guys, they were absolutely brilliant. They were not just brilliant political thinkers, but like these people read literature very deeply. They spoke 5 or 6 languages. They were thinking deeply about like, how are we going to construct a new state that's humanistic and democratic? And Stalin just exterminated all these people. And Bukharin got arrested in the purge after he'd seen everyone else be killed. And even while in prison, he wrote these beautiful texts that stand up to history. And it's, I can't. Stephen Cohen's political biography of Bukharin is one of my top 5 books of all time. I can't recommend it enough. Even if you're not a Marxist or leftist, it's just like, it's a model for like how you, like Bukharin led a model life. Like, you should aspire to live the life that guy did. Like, to face certain death with such bravery and courage, to fight for people other than yourself your whole life. Like, it's beautiful stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, I'll add it to my list.
Yay. Don't read that shit.
Put it at the top of your list. Top of your list.
Well, if it's on Kindle, yeah, it's going to the top of the list.
Well, I've been talking too much. You guys want to say anything else?
Oh, yeah, I think, like, you're a nightmare, just, like, as a person.
Nightmare?
Yeah.
That's a little...
No, I mean, it's so much. It's like, like, you could have a nightmare about, like, a monster or something. Like, no, you're the monster. Who's just some guy who wants to talk to you. You'd be like, and also, did you know about, like, also Marxist something? Like, it's just, you know what? Like, do you know what the leftist strategy really should be? To bore everyone to fucking death. And then we'll just be like, yeah, fine, fucking communism.
No, actually, I think if Trump gets reelected, the left is in large part to blame for that. Not exclusively, but in large part.
Just bore everybody.
The thing is, like, we have millions of working class people who should have engaged and made sure that Bernie was the candidate, and then, and Bernie is not a messiah, right? Like my thing with Bernie is like, yeah, Bernie's not going to solve the problems. It's like, the thing is, I would rather be pressuring and fighting a Bernie administration than a Trump one, right? Because I think of this in terms of war. Like, okay, which candidate is going to give us more favor?
Why would you think of it as terms of war? Why,
Oh,
dude? Like, we're just three. Dude,
war, buddy.
we're just three fucking morons on the fucking internet. We're all insignificant as shit.
Well, one moron and two smart people, yes.
Fine, whatever you want to, like, classify Matt as.
Just
joking. That's...
Okay.
See, that was funny. You see what I did? I made a joke. I missed 2011, baby. I missed 2011.
You land 1 out of 10. All right. How about this? I really have to pee again. Let's do that and then spend 15 minutes wrapping up. And then
whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. It's the Mike Cannon show. It's the Mike Cannon show.
Give me
triple cannon attack.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, dude. Good grief. I'll tell you, man.
Well, I learned something. That's important.
Oh,
You learned something, I learned something. This is the learning hour.
Yeah, well, it's a learning 3 hour. I mean, this will be the longest episode we've ever done. I don't know why anybody would even listen to this in their car. We should just not do the show for 3 weeks and just fucking release it 1 hour at a time. Except I'm not going to do that editing.
People listen to the Welton episode.
Oh yeah, that was a long one too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I walked away during everything he was saying. I went and did some shit. I went and got some food in the kitchen and stuff. I can't. I don't care. What are you guys talking about? Some weird Hungarian guy? He's dead. Who gives a shit? Fuck him.
Went to go crank another one out on your copy of The Road to Serfdom.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that would, like, honestly be a, like, cool thing to do versus, like, listening to some nerd talking about nerd shit. Like, who gives a fuck? Good God. Way to make libertarians sound cool. All you need to make a libertarian sound cool is just, like, talk to a communist. It's an absolute nightmare.
No, there's no way to make libertarianism cool.
All right, you fucking statist faggot.
Oh, we're all about low taxes.
Yeah, I am about low taxes because some of us have to pay taxes.
Corporations are awesome.
I mean, not necessarily, no. But in general, they're better than the state.
War is bad.
No. Yeah, war is bad. How long until I completely turn you around on how bad the U.S. Postal Service is? All right? This has been...
You already did.
Yeah, I told you they're shitty at it. They're not good at what they're doing. Like, everything is money, baby. Everything is fucking money. It's the only thing that makes sense in the world. It's the spice, it's the dune, it's the spice. And instead of a green, like, weird green, but instead of, like, weird blue eyes, it's just like a giant Jewish nose.
Back.
What's up? I'm talking about how the state.
Enver Hoxha was
I'm tired.
An interesting question, but throw me some, like, give me some challenging shit. Like, you guys talk shit about the socialist left or whatever all the time. Like,
No.
You've got one on the air. Throw me serious questions.
No. Here's the thing, man.
I'd love to discuss,
Matt,
the
Mike.
history of 20th century socialism, but throw me some serious shit. Come
Dude,
on.
the thing is,
hard questions.
we don't talk shit about people like you that are like reasonable folks. Like, we just disagree economically. I look at communism, socialism, whatever, as like an economic system that I don't think works that great.
Well, turn that into a question and pitch it at me, and I'll show you why you were wrong.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that. I already know I'm right. I don't care. It's like I don't argue with goldfish either. Like the thing that we make fun of is like, put a personal privilege. Like
Well,
how
I
do
mean, we
you-
all
how do you
agree
deal
on
with
that.
those
There's like
nerds? Those guys are lame.
there's tons of bourgeois middle class narcissism in DSA. Like, I hate that shit. I mean, I actually. You remember Peter Solar, right? When he wrote those articles saying I'm a crypto fascist.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Peter Solar. He was the guy. He was the guy who was.
Peter Solar.
Doggy daycare.
Yeah, Peter Soils is.
Well, I have
remember him.
screenshots
I
of
forgot about
him DMing me saying, "I know you're not a socialist, but it's just a joke, right?" And I'm like, "No, this is not a joke. Like, my legal name is Googleable now. Well, I guess Mike is not my legal name, but my legal name is Googleable now with an article, psychotic, deranged article you wrote calling me a crypto fascist. This isn't a fucking joke, man." And he's just whatever.
How the fuck do you think I feel about the psychopaths that have written weird bullshit about me who do not know? These are people that have never told a joke in their whole life.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I look. The thing is, look, I have friends on the right who are even more extreme than you guys are, and I know personal info about people. But like, even if I got in some personal disagreement with those people, it would never cross my mind to try to fuck with their job or their life, right? Like, there's just a level of basic decency that has gone like I know people on the really, really far right, like way beyond far right, you guys. The only people who have ever tried to dox me are Antifa. Like, these people have no principles. Like, if you draw outside the lines 1 centimeter, it's like, this person is Mike Cannon's gone red-brown. He's talking to dangerous people. We have to. I mean, they tried to dox me in Korea, even.
Well, they're fucking
these people are sick. They're fucked up. As recently as a few months ago, one of these people made a sock account and tried to like fish me on Instagram. So I just recently unlocked my Instagram. Like, it's like I can't even like post pictures of my daily life and my family and my friends and stuff. I mean, these people are fucking sick, dude. Like I mean, the three of us, I fundamentally disagree with you two guys on everything. And, I know
somehow we all
like Bryden, personal stuff about me. Like even if we got into a fierce argument,
I'd never do anything like that.
No, but even if like we got into a fierce argument, I was just like, I can't talk to Bryden anymore. Fuck that guy. It would never occur to me to be like, I got to destroy Bryden's personal life. Like, that takes a uniquely sick personality.
Yeah, it's
you just don't do that. You just don't do that.
They take every Twitter interaction like you just fucked their wife. Like it's a vendetta.
Doxing is script kiddie shit. I'm old enough to remember an age where you could just force someone off the internet by calling them gay.
Well, dude, the thing is, I don't care. People can fucking I've posted all of my personal information on the internet. I don't give a shit. Like, if somebody doxes me or whatever, you're not gonna come over. Well, it'll be.
Realistically, like, luckily there's no Antifa in South Korea. Like, our left is pretty good. Actually, we should talk about the South Korean left.
Let's do it.
But the South Korean left's pretty cool. There's no Antifa here. Like, it's left nationalists and like internationalist socialists who are really reasonable. There's no they.
So hold on, Mike. You're saying that they are nationalists. And they're also socialists. You're saying that they're nationalists and they're also socialists. I don't know, dude. I don't know, Mike.
I see what you did there. All right. National socialism, like,
is a shitty ideology. It's a horrible.
Well, speaking of it as general term. Well, look. All right. So the Korean left, the South Korean left, basically cleavages into two factions. So you have the National Liberation Faction, which they are left nationalists. They view the primary contradiction is the Korean nation is divided, and that is due to U.S. military occupation, which we do have I don't know, close to 30,000 U.S. troops here.
Oof.
And
Too many.
I mean, like, all right, just to give you the extent to which this is literally a U.S. colony, if the South Korean military wants to move troops around do a troop rotation within South Korea, they have to get a sign-off from General Abrams. And in the event of a war with North Korea, General Abrams, who is the general of that command force in this region, assumes full command of the South Korean military in addition to the U.S. military.
Shit.
So in the event of a war with North Korea, the U.S. has total operational command over the South Korean, the ROK forces. So
They're kind of our bitches.
there is
That's
a
fucking
well. Let me
crazy.
finish this. I think some of your listeners may be interested in this because this is not a
I'm
thing even people on the
interested
left
in
talk
this.
about. Yeah. So the South Korean left. So a lot of people don't know. South Korea now is a very developed, rich country. People think about BTS, open democratic society, whatever. This was not true. I mean, we're all in our early 30s. We were born in the late 80s. In the early 90s, South Korea transitioned from decades of military dictatorship into what we would call sort of a normal liberal parliamentary system. So within living memory, South Korea was a military dictatorship. So during that whole period, the left was massively repressed, and these two factions developed. One was left nationalists who had a lot of sympathies with the North Korean political project. And they viewed the primary contradiction was the division of the peninsula. The primary thing is we have to get the U.S. out and reunify the peninsula. If that means supporting North Korea invading and conquering the South, that's good. Then you had the other side, which we call PD, People's Democracy. They're more sort of eclectic Marxists and socialists who were just like, well, there's problems with the North Korean model. We have to make international ties and like kind of think about socialism in a more dynamic, democratic way. I have sympathies with both factions, and both of them have done great work here. But that's how things have played out. So I think nationalism in the context of you're a country that was destroyed during a war by a superpower, like nationalism has a different thing. So like I mentioned before, I spent a lot of time in Cuba. Cubans are very nationalistic, but their nationalism is not racist or exclusive. Their nationalism is we're Cubans, we're building socialism, we're proud of what we're doing. And Cuba is a very multi-ethnic, multiracial society. You have, because, there's like the history of Caribbean slavery and stuff. It's a very diverse, it's the only place, like, I don't know. The first time when I landed in Havana, the only time I've ever seen kids of all skin tones playing soccer happily on the street with no bullshit was in Havana. Like there's no racial segregation in Cuba. Like the idea of a black neighbor, like there are cities that are predominantly like Afro-Cuban, just because the demographics. But like in Havana is a very multiracial city. There's no black neighborhood. Everything's just all mixed up. So like, nationalism can mean a lot of different things, right? Like nationalism can mean like bigoted xenophobia. Nationalism can also mean we as a nation have rised up and collectively resisted imperialism. And I think that faction of the Korean left has embraced that kind of Cuban vibe. So anyway, end of rant.
Were you playing a drop, Bryden? Bryden?
You there, Bryden?
He's doing something.
All right. Well, have you ever been to? You're well traveled, Matt. Have you ever been to Cuba?
No. I was a friend of mine.
I highly recommend it. It's a great place.
Yeah, a friend of mine were planning a trip back in 2015, but it didn't go through. That would be on my my visit list. I mean, hopefully I'll get to Latin America one of these days and can check it out.
Well, the thing that my one word of advice is Havana's really cool. Definitely visit Havana, but Santiago de Cuba, which is on the eastern side of the island, is so much cooler, so much better. It's like the whole city's just, it's like New Orleans in the 1920s. It's just musical and like it's the Afro-Cuban part of the city, and like most of the revolutionary fighting happened there. So like people have a much more fervor for the revolution. and most of Cuban music comes from that side of the island because they pioneered stuff like reggaeton and like, I don't know if you're real into music, but I'm a music nerd, but they pioneered a lot of like really interesting music.
Yeah, I like some of that stuff. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, my interest in it came from when I first became interested in expatriation. I read I think it was called Escape Abroad, this website that offered all kinds of advice, and it listed Cuba as like the one place you should go if you don't want to be found, because like nobody's gonna fuck with you if you're in Cuba. The second best is, I think, Cartagena, Colombia.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't move to. I mean, the reason I moved to Korea, I got burned out being on the professional organizing thing, because like when you're a staff organizer for an NGO or nonprofit kind of group,
funded by George
you start
Soros.
to realize the contradictions of like the it's like, oh, we're organizing rural working class communities, but also we're funded by like
George Soros,
the Ford Foundation,
George
and stuff.
Soros.
So you start, and it's also a demanding job. You work constantly, and like, if your members are working class, like they're going to call you and want to do stuff at night when you're supposed to be off work. So I basically worked constantly, and I was just like, I was already teaching adult refugees in Nashville on the side. And I was like, I really enjoy teaching English. I'm just going to go to Korea. One of my comrades from back in the States had been here for years and is married to a Korean. His wife is the one who did my tattoo today, actually, that Bryden saw.
That shit is awesome.
So yeah, I never deliberately pursued the so-called expat lifestyle, but I will say, and this is cliched, I do enjoy it. It's pretty cool, man. Like living abroad. Like I pay about $470 for a loft, and I can walk to the beach, and I work less than 4 hours a day. Like I'm able to save money. Like it's pretty good.
Yep, that's what attracted me to places like Hungary and Georgia. Great. You get to experience a new culture. You meet interesting people. You get away from crazy people. You don't got to play head games with women. And it's cheap as fuck.
Right. Yeah. And the thing about Korea is like, typically if you apply for a job in Korea, I guess I don't know how it is now with COVID, but pre-COVID, like the way it would work, like when I got my first job in Korea, I applied for a job, I did a Skype interview, I got it, and they booked my plane ticket and flew me over, and then they provide the apartment, they pay you a good salary. I got some hagwons are really shitty, like hagwon means like private academy in Korean, but I got lucky. I had a good hagwon, had a free apartment, and part of my contract was, oh, when you're done, we'll fly you back. But I was like, oh, I'm going to stay in Korea. So they just like looked up the average price of a plane ticket and just cashed it out. And then you get a contract bonus at the end, which is 1 month's salary. So I just used that to do the deposit on my new apartment. And then now I just work part-time and hang out. So starting grad school next year, I've been languishing for the past year and a half. I think it was well deserved, but I'm starting grad school, going to finish the novel, working on some music, trying to restore some forward momentum.
Imagine going to grad
things are good, man. Like, I mean, I think, the nature of social media, I post a lot of pictures on Instagram of me doing fun things, and because people don't post on social media about the struggles in their life, they only post the happy things.
That's
so I think I've maybe created a distorted picture of my life, right? My life is objectively awesome, but
that's not true. I post pictures of me eating pea soup and chicken noodle soup and all kinds
Bryden
of soup all the time.
You only post bad things.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
You have a lovely girlfriend.
It's an art piece, baby.
You should post romantic things. Take her out to dinner, man. I told you about
I would
this
have
last
loved
time.
to have done that if these fucking. I almost said the J word.
No, you never did it before, because I think the only time you ever took her on a date is when I visited you guys.
That is true. That was a date. That counted as a date.
Yeah, but you need to do that at least once a week.
No, I don't have.
Girls like to be taken out and seen publicly with their man.
It's not about what women like. It's about what they're going to tolerate.
No, she wants it. Trust me.
I don't care what she wants.
Take her out
it's
to
about what
dinner.
she's going to tolerate, buddy.
You gotta once a week. You gotta have a date night.
Listen,
it's like
once a week. Who am I? Fucking the Monopoly man?
Dude, even if it's just going to the bar, ordering a couple beers, and eating some like fried bar food,
Wouldn't that
like,
be
at least
nice? Except
take her out in public.
I have not been
Women-
to a. I've not been to a
women
bar,
love it,
buddy.
dude.
No.
Women love it when their man takes them out.
I
in
don't
public
care what they like, but
and
like
dotes on them.
I have not
Dotes on
been.
them,
To,
yeah.
I have not been to a goddamn bar since March. All right, I love bars. I'm a bar guy. That used to be date night. Was like, fuck, I'm tired of drinking at home. Erica, let's go to the bar, and that was fun. But no, not since March. You haven't been able to do it. It's the whole thing. All the bars are closed, baby.
No, I know that. I'm just saying as a general rule, because even before COVID, you weren't doing that. I'm just saying.
I was doing that. We'd
If
go
you
to
want
the
to
bar.
score points with your girl, you got to take her out in public.
Oh, who cares about points? We're already gonna get married. It doesn't matter. I don't need points. I already won all the points.
divorce
She
happens
lives here.
too.
She
Marriage is
lives
not
here. I've maxed out on points. I'm level 99 in the reactor. Final Fantasy 7. It doesn't matter.
You come on. Can I say hi to her? Is she around?
No, she's not here right now. I think she's probably out banging a black guy or something.
Oh,
No, she's not. No, she's actually at the store right now.
Brian,
but-
you're a really witty guy, but the racial jokes are that's cheap, like cheap shit.
Yes.
Like, you can be more sophisticated.
Bryden.
you haven't been into consumer, but
You know what, Mike? You're really good at guitar. Why don't you just learn to play it better? That's what you said to me just now.
That's a good. I can learn how to play it better.
You know,
I'm not gonna.
this is what
I
I've
should.
done for. This is what I've done for years, idiot. Go check my shit. I've always done cheap racial jokes for years. All right, this is my shtick. That's fine. You don't like it. That's okay. You know,
I'm not doing a woke like don't punch down thing or whatever. Like
oh
punch
no,
down.
I get it. No, I get it. You're not.
Comedy's a free reign, but I'm just saying like
You're not the first
you're, like,
person.
you're
You're not.
doing, like
No.
you're doing like freshman level racial jokes.
Yeah,
like,
that's what a lot of people have told me. That's probably why I don't have a Netflix special and I don't live in Los Angeles anymore and I'm in Cincinnati. I get it. I'm fucking fully aware, Mike. Great. Also, your face is fat.
Encourage you. There's a kernel of brilliance in your comedy, but you're not letting it grow. You're suffocating it. I'm
out of weed, dude. I tried to get some pot twice. All right. You know, fuck. I'm just drinking Bud Lights.
Well, I
God
think
damn.
I still know some people in Cincinnati. Need me to.
Yeah.
send
Oh
the
my
text.
God. Have them hook me up with fucking like some pot and shit. I don't give a shit. No. You're not the first person to be like, Bryden, actually, you're so talented and into your comedy, and like, why don't you just stop being a faggot about it? Yeah, that's been my whole life. Thank you, Mom. I get it. Bryden, you could be so much more than a comedian. Bryden, you know, I don't need this from you, you commie piece of scum. Into the ocean with you. Into the ocean immediately.
Well, look, if everyone in your life is telling you,
Not
is offering you
everyone.
the same
I have
advice,
fucking
you should maybe
annexed
take
those
it.
people from my life, Mike. Those people aren't in my life anymore.
I'm in your life.
Not for long.
I'll always be in your life, honey. All right, Matt. All right, how do we wrap up here? Because it is 3:30 a.m.
Well,
Shit.
first
I do have to teach a
fir-
class tomorrow night. Which
Oh.
First I have to say I'm truly impressed, Mike. I usually have to work to get Bryden that angry. But
Well, you made me mad the other day when you said you wanted Ron Paul to die. I
That was-
fucking
I didn't
lost
say-
my
I didn't say-
mind.
I
didn't say I
said
wanted
that,
Ron
and
Paul
I
to
did,
die. What
and
are you
I
talking
said it
about?
I said it, and
Oh.
I said it just to wind him up because I knew
know
it
you,
would.
but you fucking it was I was like I'm not friends with Matt anymore. Fuck him.
Ron Paul. I mean, Ron Paul's an idiot, but I don't wish him any ill will. I mean,
He's who
he
got
apparently
me
had a
into-
stroke on a live stream. I hope he
He
recovers
did.
well.
Yeah, no, he's
I
doing great.
wish no ill will on my opponents. As Notorious B.I.G. said when he was accused of killing Tupac, no, I wouldn't have done that because, like, you know, I had issues with them, but like, you can't come back from death, man. Like, talk shit, but can't come back from that.
Well,
So, yeah.
like I like you know like a lot of the Antifa bloggers and stuff like that. Those nerds, like I forget Peter Solis' pants or whatever. I completely forgotten about that guy. I donated to his move across the country campaign shit. Like I really want those people to do the best. You know, because like if we all do better, man.
Peter Stoller is, even a lot of Antifa people don't like him.
Yeah, he's a nerd. I mean,
he's
whatever.
fucked up. Yeah.
I hope he does.
He's got
good.
mental health problems. I'm empathetic to that. I mean, you know, I think all three of us, you know, I mean, we're human beings. We've had depression bouts and stuff, but I think the three of us, we've never just like launched public campaigns to abuse people. Right?
No,
like,
it's weird.
At least I haven't. I don't think Bryden had. I don't know about Matt, but I've never written an article trying to get somebody like fired and like denounced as a crypto fascist. Like,
No.
I would never do that to somebody. But
I don't have the fucking energy to do that shit. And besides,
yeah, I don't either. Well, I don't have the energy. And also,
self-destructive people have a habit of just ruining themselves without your involvement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You just say, I mean, anytime anybody's listening to this, anytime somebody's like trying to come after you real hard, just fucking ignore it. Like it's not worth the goddamn energy. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. And remember, stupid people are as bad as a time bomb. All right? Like, that's if you're hanging around with stupid people, they're as bad as a goddamn time bomb, dude. They're not good. But, just who gives a shit, man? Like, I totally forgot about Peter Pantsoler, and I really hope he's doing good. I haven't heard anything about him for a while.
Based on his Twitter, I occasionally check in on it. I'm not on Twitter, but he's clear. He hasn't gotten the therapy he needs. I'll just put it that way.
I keep meaning to buy the domain Fashbusters. I keep meaning to buy it and then just like make it redirect to just a giant picture of him that goes poopy pants. But I'm not gonna do it. It's not worth the fucking $10
if you do,
a year.
Yeah. All right. Well, are those your final remarks, Matt? Do you have any?
I like
final
how
remarks?
this is a Mike Cannon podcast. No, it's not my final remarks. Go check out.
All right. Well, Bryden, give your. Let's
Yeah.
do a round because it's 3:30 a.m. here.
I get it, but this is not. This is the Mike Cannon podcast.
All right, Bryden, give your final remarks, then Matt, then me.
Please go and check out I Love You Beer. You can check that out on BrydenProctor.com. You can go to my YouTube for it, or you can go to dlive.tv/Bryden. Every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., I'm doing an hour show, which is just me talking about how much I hate Mike Cannon and communism. So,
All right, Matt, final remarks.
Yeah, I mean, ordinarily, I guess this is basically just the plug your shit portion or what we ordinarily do. So yeah, go to mattforney.com. I'm gonna
your show. This is literally your show, and you're letting this fucking commie take it over. You're a statist, and Matt, you're a weak statist.
Like, some magazines have a guest editor. I'm the guest editor.
Who the fuck has heard of a magazine?
Clearly not you. I mean, I know that you only recently learned how to read and write, but
yeah, okay, third time.
Trust me.
Mike did a joke. Mike did a joke. Third time. Some people say in comedy the third time is the thing, but guess what?
All right, let's let Matt wrap it up.
Yeah. You can find my stuff at mattforney.com. I'm gonna reorganize it one of these days, delete a lot of shit, get rid of the books, But yeah. You
some of those books were your recent work is interesting, but the Bang X Country book site, I'm not done.
I want to kill you.
Well, to be fair, I only wrote one of those, but yeah, it's going down. It's going off.
The Vosh, yeah, don't do the what's that fucking guy's name? Vosh V or whatever.
Roosh?
Anyway,
he quit that.
Voosh.
He quit that.
Oh yeah, he's like a TrashCath now, right?
He's a devout Christian.
Wait, hold on. The term TrashCath, is that a thing?
No, TradCath.
Oh, I'm making the word TrashCath then. I like that.
That's a good one. That's a good
TrashCath.
TrashCath. That's good.
That's a good meme. You got to spread that one far and wide.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, at least we got a meme out of this podcast. All right. Well, I will just say it's been interesting talking to you, gentlemen.
Yeah, you're coming back next week. You're just
our fundamental disagreements remain, but I accepted this invite to red pill your listeners in the right way, and I think I have. So.
See, I love that. I love that. No. Hold on. I love that. Like these memes, like different pills or whatever, slowly work their way past right wingers into eventually 2 years later left wing people. They're like, red pill. We're gonna take over Pepe. We're gonna take over Pepe.
The old boomer meme is like, if you're young and you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart, and if you're old and a conservative, you don't have a
brain.
Heart. It's reversed. So with you guys, like if you haven't come to the logical conclusion that socialism is the best solution if you want to improve your life,
nobody said it wasn't. But
you did.
No.
You're a libertarian.
I mean, I guess as much as you want me to be. I'm whatever you want me
You
to be.
said this explicitly.
Sure, and that's fine. But what did I say about 1,000,000 years ago? Was words don't mean anything.
All
My
right,
whole
fellas,
ideology
I
is
gotta
that
Oh
I
yeah,
want to say
I'll,
the N
I'll,
word.
I'll, okay, yeah, I'll lead us out here. That'll do it
Okay.
for this episode of Terror House Radio. You be sure to check in every day at Terror House Magazine, terrorhousemag.com for the latest stuff we publish. You can check out our books, Terror House Press, terrorhousepress.com. Social media links are in the description. And of course, you can always check out past episodes of the show at terrorhouseradio.com. Terror House Radio is produced by Bryden Proctor and presented by Jugs. Intro music by Meme Extremist, illegitimate non-carborundum. Done with the bastards grind you down. I'm Matt Forney with Bryden Proctor and Mike Cannon, and we are out.